1.1 Erika Nordstrom.
Hi, I'm Erika Nordstrom. I'm Swedish. I live in Malmö in the south of Sweden. I'm a product quality manager for IKEA. My boyfriend, Lars, works as a security officer on the Öresund Bridge. We're both keen ice hockey players. We play for a local team, but last month I fell and twisted my ankle, so there's no hockey for me for a while.
1.2 Describing people. 1.
What does she do?
She's a product quality manager for IKEA.
2.
How old is she?
She's in her early 20s.
3.
What's she like?
She's really nice, very easygoing.
4.
What does she look like?
She's quite tall, with long blonde wavy hair.
5.
Who does she look like?
She's the image of her dad.
6.
What colour eyes has she got?
Greenish brown.
7.
How tall is she?
1 metre 73.
8.
What kind of clothes does she wear?
Smart casual and stylish.
9.
What does she like doing?
She plays ice hockey and also goes jogging.
10.
How is she?
She's fine. Her ankle's healing well.
1.3 Describing places. 1.
What's your apartment like?
It's modern and very comfortable.
2.
How big is it?
About 90 square meters.
3.
How many bedrooms are there?
2 doubles and a single.
4.
What size is the kitchen?
4 meters by 2.
5.
Which floor is it on?
The 4th floor.
6.
Which part of town is it in?
It's north of the river.
7.
How far is it to your work?
Just a 5-minute cycle ride.
1.4 Describing things. 1.
What make is it?
It's a MacBook.
2.
What's this button for?
It turns it on.
3.
How long is the battery life?
About 9 hours.
4.
How much does it weigh?
It's really light, 0.9 kilograms.
5.
What size is it?
It's got a 12-inch screen and it's very slim.
6.
How much memory has it got?
16 gigabytes.
7.
How fast is it?
It's much faster than my PC.
8.
Whose is it?
It's mine.
1.5 Question words. 1.
How often do you go to the gym?
2.
What size shoes do you take?
3.
How far is your house from the beach?
4.
What make is your car?
5.
What kind of food do you like?
6.
Which bread would you like for your sandwich?
7.
How many of you want coffee?
8,
What flavour ice cream would you like?
9,
Whose bag is that?
10,
Which way do you go for the city centre?
1.6. My favourite things.
So, Tom, what's on your list? Griff? That's a strange name. Who's Griff? Why is he important to you?
Well, he's my best mate.
Oh,
He was the very first person I met at secondary school when I was 11. I knew nobody and he knew nobody, so we just fell on each other, became best friends and, well, we still are.
ah. And Griff's his real name?
No, his name's actually David Griffiths, but there were so many Davids in our class. He was always called Griff. He still is. Everyone calls him that.
I see. So now, your favourite city or town, where's that?
That's easy. Definitely New York.
Ah.
My grandparents took me and my brother Jack there for 4 days when I was 14 and Jack was 16. It was the best holiday ever for me. We stayed in a hotel overlooking Central Park.
Ah.
We went ice skating and we flew over the city in a helicopter. We saw everything. It was amazing. I'd love to work in New York.
Yeah, I think New York's a favourite for many people. What about a memorable meal? Where was that?
Actually, that was in New York. We went to Michael Jordan's restaurant in Grand Central Station. Have you heard of it?
What, Grand Central? Of course.
No, not the station. The restaurant, Michael Jordan's. I think it's quite famous.
I don't know it. What kind of restaurant is it?
It's a steakhouse. The steak is just the best. And you sit high up. It's so exciting. You can eat and watch all these New Yorkers rushing to catch their trains.
Sounds great. So, finally, do you have a treasured possession?
I'm not sure I do have a treasured possession. Well, there's my iPhone, of course. I certainly couldn't live without that. But other than that, I suppose it's the ship in a bottle that my great-grandpa gave me just before he died. He said it was very special to him, but I'm not sure why. He was too old to explain it clearly.
Aw, that's a shame. Now, do you want to hear about my favourite things?
Yeah.
1.7. What are you like? 1,
Life just becomes more and more complicated. All this new technology. As soon as I get used to something, it changes. What is the world coming to?
2,
I spent the whole weekend trying to teach my 5-year-old nephew how to ride a bike. Oh, bless him. He fell time and time again, but we kept going and finally he was away.
3,
It's amazing. Richard can never find his wallet when it's his turn to pay.
4,
You go. I don't really want to. I'm not very good in large groups. I never know what to talk about and pubs are so noisy.
5,
He has his future all planned out. He says he'll be a millionaire by the time he's 40.
1.8. What's their story? The Angulo brothers.
The weirdest brothers in the world. Imprisoned for years by their father in a tiny Manhattan apartment in New York, their only contact with the world was watching films. Now, they're in one.
Dressed in dark glasses, white shirts, black suits and black ties, just like the robbers in Quentin Tarantino's thrilling movie Reservoir Dogs, they seem like any group of teenagers trying to look cool. But there is an astonishing reason why the 6 Angulo brothers try so hard to imitate their favourite film stars. For the Angulos, For 14 years, watching films wasn't just an escape from the outside world, it was their world. The 6 boys and their elder sister were imprisoned in an overcrowded, messy flat by an eccentric and tyrannical father who wanted to keep them from the horrors of modern life in New York. Homeschooled by their mother Suzanne, the family was so reclusive that many neighbours didn't even know they were there. Once, we didn't leave the apartment for a whole year, says Govinda. However, the children were not completely cut off from the outside world. Their father had a collection of 5,000 DVDs and videos, and the children watched these films time and time again. Now their story, which is stranger than any film, is told in a documentary film called The Wolf Pack.
1.9 My closest relative. Tess.
I think the person that I'm probably closest to is my sister, Charlotte, or Charlie, as everyone calls her. We're very different. She drives me crazy sometimes, and we have terrible rows, but I know we'll always be there for each other in the end. One thing I love about her is her sunny personality. She's so sociable, not shy like me. She's always cheerful and full of fun. Oh, people love her. They always want to be her friend. Me, I'm just her boring baby sister. But perhaps what I like best about her is the way she's so honest about herself. She says her big problem is that she can't sit still. She says she'd like to be like me and be happy just sitting reading or watching a film, just relaxing, really. I'm good at that.
Simon.
In my family, I think I'm closest to my granddad. My dad, I don't really get on with. We don't really see eye to eye about anything, but fortunately he's away on business most of the time. I think he'd like me better if I was good at sports, football or rugby or something. Any sport, but I'm not. What I like about Grandad is that we have the same interests. We both love wildlife, nature, plants and animals and things. We often go walking together in the countryside, and sometimes, in my school holidays, we go camping. I love that. Even in the rain. I think, emotionally, I'm closer to him than I am to both my parents. You see, my mum also has a high-powered job, and she travels a lot. I'm an only child, so I think I'd be lonely without my granddad. I love him. My friends love him too. He's always so interested in what they're doing. He's young at heart, my granddad.
Ellie.
The person I'm closest to in my family is definitely my mum. Everyone loves my mum. She's the kind of person you can talk to about anything. She's very understanding, especially now I have a baby of my own. She's a great help with the baby, George, but doesn't throw too much advice at me, if you know what I mean. At the moment, we spend a lot of time together because I'm not back at work. We go for walks with the baby. We go shopping together. We like the same kind of clothes. She's pretty cool, my mum, not old-fashioned at all. We have our ups and downs, of course. A few years ago, I had a tattoo, a butterfly, done on my shoulder, and she didn't like that at all. She still goes on about it, but most of the time we get on very well indeed.
Nick.
I'm closest to my twin brother, Chris. We're not identical twins, but we have a lot of things in common. We follow the same football team, Arsenal. We like the same sort of music, especially house music, and we mainly have the same friends. but I suppose there are more differences than similarities. Well, I'm into all things history and politics, and Chris loves adventure and travel. Also, our personalities are very different. Well, I'm like my mum, calm and easygoing. Chris, he's like my dad. He can be moody and bad-tempered. With those two, Dad and Chris, often fight like cat and dog. I'm the referee. It's not a role I like. Chris has just gone travelling in Southeast Asia. He's in South Korea at the moment, in Seoul. I miss him a lot. I think as twins, we're closer than most brothers and sisters. We're different. But I trust him like I trust no one else, even my mum.
1.10. Making the right noises. Pleasure.
How fantastic! That's great. Congratulations! Good for you. Lovely. Brilliant.
Agreement.
Absolutely. Of course. Fine. Definitely. Fair enough. Okay.
Surprise.
That's amazing! You're kidding! You did what? You didn't. Really? Did you?
Sympathy.
That's a shame. That's too bad. How awful! Oh dear. Bad luck. What a pity.
1.11. Making the right noises.
My grandfather hasn't been too well lately.
Oh dear.
He's 79, but he's always on the go. Don't you think at his age he should slow down a bit?
Absolutely.
But he won't listen to me. He says he wants to enjoy his life to the full.
Fair enough.
Last summer, he went on a 2-week cycling holiday in France.
Oh, you're kidding.
We're going to give him a big party for his 80th birthday.
Well, that's great.
But before that, I'm going to have a word with him and tell him to take things easy.
Good for you.
1.12. 1.
I just had a weekend in Paris with my boyfriend.
Did you? How fantastic.
2.
Will spaghetti bolognese be okay for dinner?
Of course, that's great.
3.
My flight was cancelled because of a pilot's strike.
Oh dear, that's a shame.
4.
I failed my driving test again.
You didn't. That's too bad.
5.
We're expecting a baby.
Really? Congratulations!
6.
So, you think I should get a new job?
Definitely. You've never been happy with your boss.
7.
I told him I never wanted to see him again.
You're kidding! What a pity.
1.13. 1.
I just had a weekend in Paris with my boyfriend.
Did you? How fantastic. What was the weather like?
2.
Will spaghetti bolognese be okay for dinner?
Of course, that's great. It's one of my favourites.
3.
My flight was cancelled because of a pilot's strike.
Oh dear, that's a shame. Will you get your money back?
4.
I failed my driving test again.
You didn't! That's too bad. Better luck next time.
5.
We're expecting a baby.
Really? Congratulations! When is it due?
6.
So, you think I should get a new job?
Definitely. You've never been happy with your boss. It's time to move on.
7.
I told him I never wanted to see him again.
You're kidding! What a pity. I always thought the two of you were so good together.
2.1 Language Quiz 1.
The official UN languages are English, Russian, Spanish, French, Chinese and Arabic. The majority of member nations prefer to receive correspondence in English.
2.
Languages are disappearing at the rate of 1 every 2 weeks. It's thought that around half of the world's languages will disappear in the next century.
3.
In Britain, bees go bzz and cats go meow. They make zum and meow sounds in German, and Japanese bees and cats go bun and nyan.
4.
Many African languages have developed clicking sounds as consonants, as in. In other languages, clicks are only used to express emotions, such as disapproval.
5.
If you are using an ATM in Latin, you must be in Vatican City. The Vatican has its own private bank, but only for priests and Vatican employees.
6.
Reading silently only became common in the 10th century AD. In the 4th century, reading silently was so unusual that people travelled to Milan to watch a bishop called Ambrose doing it.
7.
After the Vikings invaded Britain, people spoke Old Norse as well as Old English, which did have gender. As the two languages couldn't agree on gender, people stopped using it altogether.
8.
Edison was making the first sound recording when he recited "Mary Had a Little Lamb." He was astonished when it worked immediately and said, "I was always afraid of things that worked the first time."
9.
There have been many attempts to simplify English spelling. The Chicago Tribune newspaper got people to accept new spellings of catalogue and program, but didn't succeed with the other examples.
10.
The first recorded use of OMG to show surprise was in a letter from John Fisher, a 75-year-old admiral in the British Royal Navy, to Winston Churchill in 1917. It became popular among young people when text messaging began.
11.
On average, 1,000 words are added to the Oxford Dictionaries online each year. Recent additions include hangry, getting angry because you're hungry, and pocket dial, when your phone accidentally calls someone's number.
12.
Vulgar Latin was spoken by the people of ancient Rome, but intellectuals liked to use Greek. When Caesar was killed, he is reported to have said, "And you, Brutus," in Greek.
2.2 No, they don't. 1.
Brazilians speak Spanish.
No, they don't speak Spanish. They speak Portuguese.
2.
The Pope lives in Madrid.
No, he doesn't live in Madrid. He lives in Rome, in the Vatican.
3.
Shakespeare wrote his plays in Latin.
No, you're wrong. He wrote them in English.
4.
The world is getting colder.
It isn't getting colder, it's getting warmer.
5.
The Americans didn't land on the moon.
Yes, they did. Neil Armstrong walked on the moon in 1969.
6.
Cinderella was going to the ball when she lost her shoe.
No, you've got that wrong. She was leaving the ball when she lost her shoe.
7.
The UK has never had a female Prime Minister.
Yes, it has. The UK has had 2 female Prime Ministers, Margaret Thatcher and Theresa May.
8.
The 2016 Olympics were held in London.
No, they weren't held in London in 2016. That was 2012. The 2016 Games were held in Rio de Janeiro.
2.3. Is or has. 1.
My brother's just got a new job.
2.
He's working in Mexico at the moment.
3.
He's never worked abroad before.
4.
He's been there 6 weeks.
5.
He's been having a great time.
6.
He's really impressed his new boss.
7.
His new company's called Cyber Pronto.
8.
It's based in Los Angeles.
2.4.
Hi, Nick. Have you been shopping?
Yes, I have. I'm going to cook fish pie for you two tonight. Did you have a good day at college?
No.
Oh, well, I did. We were practicing giving presentations.
Oh, sounds interesting. Was that not useful for you, Miguel?
No.
Why? Do you never have to give presentations at work?
No.
I do. That's why I need to improve my English.
Well, it's definitely improving.
Have you noticed my English is better?
Yes, I have. And it'll get better the longer you're here.
No, it won't, because he speaks Spanish with the other Spanish students all day.
No.
Yes, you do. You're always together. Are you going on the trip to Wales on Saturday?
Yes.
I'm going too. And Keiko and Roberto are, so spend the day speaking English with us.
Okay.
2.5.
Hi, Nick. Have you been shopping?
Yes, I have. I'm going to cook fish pie for you two tonight. Did you have a good day at college?
No, I didn't. I didn't think the lessons were very interesting today.
Well, I did. We were practicing giving presentations.
Oh, sounds interesting. Was that not useful for you, Miguel?
No, it wasn't really. It's not something I need to practice.
Why? Do you never have to give presentations at work?
No, I don't. Well, not in English, anyway. Sometimes I have to give them in Spanish.
I do. That's why I need to improve my English.
Well, it's definitely improving.
Have you noticed my English is better?
Yes, I have. And it'll get better the longer you're here.
No, it won't, because he speaks Spanish with the other Spanish students all day.
No, I don't. I don't spend all my time with them.
Yes, you do. You're always together. Are you going on the trip to Wales on Saturday?
Yes, I am. I've always wanted to see Wales.
I'm going too, and Keiko and Roberto are, so spend the day speaking English with us.
Okay, I will. Maybe I do need to practice speaking English more.
2.6. Short answers. 1.
Did you hear that noise?
Yes, I did. I think it was thunder. 2.
Are you doing anything tonight?
No, I'm not. Do you want to come round?
3.
Have you seen my phone anywhere?
No, I haven't. Have you lost it again?
4.
Did you get those shoes you liked?
No, I didn't. They didn't have my size.
5.
Is it nearly break time?
Yes, it is. I'm dying for a coffee.
2.7. 1.
Are you going to the match on Saturday?
No, I'm not. I've got too many jobs that need doing around the house.
2.
Have you been to America?
Yes, I have. I spent 2 fantastic weeks in San Francisco last summer.
3.
Does your phone take good photos?
No, it doesn't. I'm thinking of getting a new one that does.
4.
Has your business been doing okay?
Yes, it has. We've had lots of big orders recently.
5.
Were you born in this country?
No, I wasn't. My parents moved here when I was 2.
6.
Did you find your way here easily?
Yes, I did. I used the sat-nav.
2.8. A world in one family. Nicholas.
So, Nicholas, how old are you?
I'm 21.
And you have an interesting background. What nationality are you?
Well, I'm British. I was born here and I've got a British passport.
And is that the same for your sister?
Yeah, Sarah was born here too.
But your parents, what nationality are they?
Well, my father's Brazilian and my mum's German, but they've both lived in the UK for 30 years.
And how did they meet? Was that here in the UK?
Yes. It's a funny story, actually.
Go on then.
Well, you should probably ask my mother about it.
OK, I will. What about languages? Your parents must speak very good English.
Yeah, both of them had good English when they came here, and it's pretty perfect now. But I do get to correct them sometimes.
So, what languages are spoken in your family?
Well, my dad speaks Portuguese, as well as English, obviously. My mum's father's German, and her mother's Brazilian, so, she speaks German and Portuguese fluently. And she studied English at university.
Wow, so are you and your sister both bilingual or trilingual?
You could say Sarah's trilingual. I'm sort of bilingual.
Mm-hmm.
My dad didn't make as much effort to speak Portuguese with me, and I'm not really fluent in it.
And what's it like growing up in England with a Brazilian father and a German mother?
It's been fine. I didn't think about my nationality much when I was young. The first time I remember it being an issue was at secondary school when there was a World Cup. And my classmates said I had to choose which country to support, England, Germany or Brazil.
So, which was it?
I said I wanted to support all 3. Good job, really, because England and Brazil both got knocked out in the quarter-finals.
Oh, it pays to be multinational sometimes. So, has your background affected your career choice?
I guess so. I'm studying modern languages at university, Italian and German.
Oh, another new language.
Yes, I love Italian, and it's pretty similar to Portuguese.
And studying German must be dead easy for you.
In some ways, but writing in German is still difficult for me sometimes.
And what are you hoping to do in the future?
Good question. I'm not sure yet, but I want to use my languages, hopefully in a job where I can travel or live abroad for a while.
Thanks, Nicholas.
2.9 A world in one family. Elke.
Elke, you're German, aren't you?
Yes, I'm actually half German and half Brazilian, but I was born and grew up in Düsseldorf.
And how long have you lived here in Cambridge?
Oh, 31 years.
And how did that happen?
I came to the university as a postgraduate and, well, I met my husband, Philippe. We met at a student party.
Nicholas tells me it's a good story.
Yes. I was standing near two men. It was Philippe and his Brazilian friend Lucas. And, well, I looked German, or maybe English, not particularly Brazilian. So, after looking over at me, Philippe thought it was fine for him to say to Lucas, quite loudly in Portuguese, "Oh, she is cute. I'd like to ask her out."
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. He looked horrified and blushed like mad when I shouted over in Portuguese, "Well, you're not so bad yourself, so why don't you?" But then we laughed about it and spent the evening together. And, well, here we still are.
What made you decide to stay here?
Philippe got a job at the university, and I found a job soon after. It avoids deciding which of your countries to live in if you live in a third one.
True. Now, I wondered, did you choose Sarah and Nicholas's names because they're international?
Yes, they're common in all the countries we belong to.
And would you say that Sarah and Nicholas are both trilingual?
Sarah is. She's comfortable in German, Portuguese or English. She often switches languages without even noticing.
Now, Nicholas said his dad didn't make as much effort to speak Portuguese to him.
Oh, that's not true.
Oh.
We introduced it a bit later, but Philippe always used it with him. It's just that Nicholas kept replying in English.
Ah, well, I know Nicholas is studying languages. Has Sarah's background influenced her career?
Yes, she's a consultant for British companies doing business in Brazil, and she's often out there. I think she'll end up living there, actually.
And what do you think are the pros and cons of bringing up children in a different culture to your own?
I think it's a great opportunity to take the best of both cultures. People identify too much with just their own language and culture. But I do sometimes worry that my children don't feel like they really belong anywhere. I wonder whether it's possible to feel 100% English when your parents aren't English.
I see.
2.10 Pronunciation. 1.
Rose. Goes. Does. Toes.
2.
Meet. Beat. Great. Street.
3.
Paid. Made. Played. Said.
4.
Done. Phone. None. One.
2.11 Word stress.
Woman. Enjoy. Accent. Photographer. Computer. Pronunciation.
2.12 Everyday situations. 1.
Just a trim, please.
OK, how much do you want off? This much?
A bit more than that. My hair grows really quickly.
2.
No thanks, I'm just looking.
Well, just call me if you do need any help.
Thanks. Oh, actually, where are the changing rooms?
3.
Is it within walking distance?
No, not really. It's more of a taxi ride.
Thanks. Is there a taxi rank near here?
4.
I'm afraid I've locked myself out of my room.
Oh, that's no problem. I'll just do you another key card.
Thanks. I'll bring it straight back.
5.
I can't make the meeting. I'm stuck in traffic.
Oh no, you're the one giving the presentation.
Oh, come on. You could do it just as well as me.
6.
I need to make an appointment. It's quite urgent. I've lost a filling.
We have a cancellation this afternoon at 2:45, if that's okay.
Oh, that would be brilliant. Thank you ever so much. I'll see you then.
7.
Oh, no thanks. It was all lovely, but I couldn't eat another thing.
Oh, but you really must try the other dessert.
Honestly, I'd love to, but I really couldn't manage it.
8.
Is there a matinee performance today?
Yes, it's at 2:30, but I'm afraid it's sold out. How about tomorrow?
Oh, that won't work, unfortunately. We're only here for the day.
9.
Will this parcel get there tomorrow if it goes first class?
It should, but if you send it special delivery, it definitely will.
OK, I'll do that then, please. How much is it?
10.
Does it come with chips?
No, you have to order them as a side dish.
OK, could we have one portion to share then, please?
2.13. Listen and speak. 1. You don't want your haircut too short. What do you say to the hairdresser?
Just a trim, please.
2. A shop assistant asks if you need help. How do you say no?
No, thanks. I'm just looking.
3. How do you ask if somewhere isn't too far to walk to?
Is it within walking distance?
4. Your hotel room door has locked with your key inside. What do you say at reception?
I'm afraid I've locked myself out of my room.
5. You're in traffic and you'll be late for a meeting. What do you say to your colleague on the phone?
I can't make the meeting. I'm stuck in traffic.
6. You phone the dentists because you need a new filling as soon as possible. What do you say?
I need to make an appointment. It's quite urgent. I've lost a filling.
7. Your host at dinner offers you more food. How do you say no?
No, thanks. It was lovely, but I couldn't eat another thing.
8. How do you ask at the theatre if there's a performance this afternoon?
Is there a matinee performance today?
9. At the post office, ask if your parcel will arrive in 24 hours if you pay more.
Will it get there tomorrow if it goes first class?
10. Ask the waiter if you need to order chips with your dish.
Does it come with chips?
3.1. How I Stay Calm by people in stressful jobs. 1. The football manager, Gary Rudd.
When I watch my team, my heart's racing, but I try to keep calm and not shout too much. I feel a huge responsibility for the club, and I have worries, injured players, referees I don't agree with. Also, I know that the manager is always blamed when the team loses. That's very stressful. The way I stay calm is to leave my work at work. I never watch the 24-hour sports channels. I don't go on social media and read what people say on Twitter or Facebook. I don't even talk to my family about it. And that's difficult when I'm down after a really bad game. Oh, and I do DIY around the house. I'm decorating the kitchen at the moment.
2. The head teacher, Joan Bevan.
I had the most fantastic teachers when I was at school, and I think that's why I feel so much stress and worry in this job. See, I believe that a good school makes a huge difference to the lives of young people. We have 1,100 students here, and I have a personal responsibility for each one of them. So I arrived early to school every morning to give myself time to just sit and think quietly. The most stressful situation is when angry parents show up. Oh, I try to stay calm, as the minute you shout, people don't listen. Also, I run. I'm training for the Great Welsh Marathon at the moment, so I run 8 miles 3 nights a week, and that's a great help.
3. The deep-sea diver, Kyle Cooper.
What I do is install underwater gas and oil wells. I work 300 kilometres north of Shetland, in Scotland. The whole job is stressful. From the helicopter ride to the ship, to when I get into a 2.5 metre by 7 metre chamber for a month. I'm in there with 11 other divers. We work in teams of 3. We go up and down in a kind of diving bell, which is lowered to 20 metres above the seabed, and we work for 6 hours in the pitch black. It's tiring. It's very tiring. But I've been doing it for 20 years, and I still love it. Usually I work 1 month and then have 2 months off. Even when I'm not working, I love the sea. It calms me. You won't believe it, but sailing is my favourite pastime. I love sailing. I'm actually building my own boat at the moment.
4. The A&E doctor, Dr. Bonnie Baxter.
I'm an A&E doctor in a busy city centre hospital. We see about 60,000 patients a year. It's stressful most of the time, but especially weekends. We see twice as many patients at weekends. I understand their distress when they say, "How long do I have to wait? When will I be seen?" But I can't often give them an answer. The very nature of A&E is that it is unpredictable for both doctors and patients. I've now been working here almost 3 years. What helps me is having people around who share the stresses of the day. Oh, that and my knitting. In my few free moments, I knit. I'm making a little blue jacket for my sister's baby. He'll probably be too big for it by the time I finish.
3.3. The loneliness of the football manager. An interview with Gary Rudd.
How do you get a balance between work and home life?
Well, it's tricky, but I've been married for 10 years and I've been doing this job for 3 years. And very fortunately, my lovely wife understands how stressful it is. Also, it helps that we live near my work. We have a nice house not far from the football ground.
Do you have any children?
We have 2 kids, twin daughters. Thank goodness they both love football. They often come to watch the matches, but I never seem to have time to do dad-type things with them. My job is so time-consuming. I usually work 6 days out of 7 and always at weekends.
Oh, don't you like your job?
Don't get me wrong, I love my job. It's challenging and exciting. I never know what's going to happen. I like training the lads, they're great guys, but it's often lonely. I enjoyed all my years as a player. I loved all the dressing room chat and socialising after the game. Now I'm not invited to join them.
Do you and your wife relax at all?
Not much. We don't have a social life these days. I try to switch off when I get home and do stuff around the house, but it's difficult. I like doing DIY, but I rarely finish anything. I'm painting the kitchen at the moment. I've been doing it for weeks and it's not finished yet.
What does your wife think about that?
She's a very patient lady and she has lots of interests of her own, but...
How long are you going to stay as manager?
I don't have an answer to that. I want to leave when the team are doing well. I have no idea when that will be. I'm hoping before my marriage ends. Don't worry, I'm joking.
3.4 Questions and Answers. 1.
Does he have any children?
Yes, he does. He has twin daughters.
2.
Where does he live?
In a nice house, not far from the football ground.
3.
How many days a week does he work?
6 days out of 7 and always at weekends.
4.
What does he like about his job?
He thinks it's challenging and exciting because he never knows what's going to happen. Also, he likes training the players. He thinks they're great.
5.
Why is he lonely?
Because he's not invited to join the players after the game.
6.
How does he relax?
He likes doing DIY, but he rarely finishes anything.
7.
What is he doing at the moment?
He's painting the kitchen. He's been painting it for weeks, but it's not finished yet.
8.
When does he want to leave his job?
Not until his team are doing well.
3.5 First day in a new job.
Gosh, I don't know anybody. Can you help me? Who are all these people?
Well, let's see. That's Nigel. He's sitting at the top of the table reading a report or something.
He's the one wearing the bright blue tie, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And what does he do?
He's the CEO, the man in charge. Well, he runs the show.
The big boss, in other words.
Some days he shouts a lot, but he listens as well. Then there's Edward. He's wearing a light grey suit. He's standing in front of the window chatting to Helena. Edward's the sales director. He's going to China soon. He's charming. He always has a nice word to say to everyone. Helena's drinking a coffee. She's wearing a lovely green jacket and cream silk scarf. She always dresses beautifully.
I can see that. And Helena is the...
Helena's the accountant. Money, money, money. Very bright, very quick.
Okay. And who's that sitting down, talking on her phone?
In the pink jumper?
Yeah.
That's Jenny, the human resources manager, HR manager. She looks after all the personnel. She's a sweetheart. Everyone loves her. Then opposite her is Matthew. He's the IT manager. He's only working here for a few months. He's from our New York office. I don't really know him very well.
Is he the guy working on his laptop in the striped shirt?
That's him. Striped shirt, no tie. He knows everything about technology. He's preparing to give a presentation. And finally, that's Christina, standing behind Nigel. She's his PA.
Sorry, who was that?
Christina, behind Nigel. She's his personal assistant. She organises his diary and the whole of his life, actually. But she helps us too. We couldn't cope without her. She runs the whole place. Can you see the huge dangly earrings she's wearing? She always wears interesting earrings. It's her thing.
Good for her. Right, thanks, Josh. I hope I can remember all that.
Well, they're a very nice crowd. Well, let me introduce you. Hey, everyone. This is Sarah, our new marketing manager.
Hi.
Hello, Sarah.
3.6. What's your job?
What's your job?
I'm a human resources manager.
So what do you do exactly?
I look after the employees and their training and make sure they're happy.
And what are you working on at the moment?
I'm recruiting and interviewing. We're trying to find new staff for our office in Paris.
3.7. What do they do for a living? 1. Steph.
There's never a quiet or dull moment in my job. You need eyes at the back of your head when you're looking after a bunch of 3-year-olds. They are constantly on the move. My favourite time of the day is story time because I get to sit down for 15 minutes. Story time is my one moment of calm in the day.
2. Will.
I actually like getting up so early in the morning. In this job, you never get to lie in. And at the moment, I'm up in the night as well because we're lambing. Quite a few of the sheep have problems lambing, especially if it's twins. I had triplets last night. Stressful, but they were all fine.
3. Sebastian.
I love working in such a fast-moving environment and in a big city. I'm excited by it. It suits me because I've always been fascinated by numbers. Making money disappear and reappear is thrilling to me. I'm a workaholic. I work 16 hours a day. The downside is living in fear of losing your job. It can happen at any time. Lots of my friends have. That's why we deserve the money we earn.
4. Mansell.
I'm about to retire. Not long ago, we could retire at 55 or 60. But now it's 65. I think people believe it's a more glamorous job than it actually is. You go all over the world, but you don't really know anywhere. The greatest thrill in my career was when I flew Concorde. I did the London-Barbados run. Now my wife and I are going to have a proper holiday there.
3.8. Dan Price, the best boss in America.
It's Monday morning, and a dozen people are sitting around a conference table in an office on an industrial estate in rainy Seattle. A woman is writing on a whiteboard. Coffee is being sipped. It's just after 8 a.m. I'm at a meeting in the credit card processing firm Gravity Payments. A latecomer slips in and takes a seat among them. With his unkempt hair, jeans, and trainers, he looks just like another member of staff. But this is the boss, Dan Price. Probably the best boss in the world.
3.9. Our work-life balance. Lucinda.
Free time? What's that? Balancing work and, life? I don't think I do that very well. I run an advertising agency, and what with my family and the daily commute to work, life is pretty full on. I am trying to do more non-work stuff, so I've just started tennis lessons. I go to the local tennis club on Sunday mornings, but to be honest, some Sundays I find it too difficult to get up. I can't drag myself out of bed. I bought all the kit, expensive racket, shorts and trainers and stuff, so I do try to make the effort, especially when my son starts shouting at me to get up. Actually, that's what happens most Sundays. Oh, and I do yoga occasionally, every few weeks when I start feeling really stressed. All that meditation helps a lot.
Barney.
It's not fair. We get so much homework. Every night and weekends, and the bit of the weekend that's free, I have tennis lessons. I've been having tennis lessons forever, every Saturday morning. I know I'm good at tennis and I kind of like it. Only thing is, it's not what I like most. I like football. I like it a lot. I play for a local club for 9 to 12-year-olds. We're called the Burco Raiders and, well, we're rubbish really. I mean, really rubbish. We never win. But I still like it more than tennis. It's just not fair. Mum has tennis lessons too, but most times she misses it because she's still asleep. Actually, for me, absolutely best of all are my computer games. Football ones, of course. I play FIFA and a fantastic American football game called Madden 16. Oh, and do you know Forza? That's not football. It's a racing car game. It's really my dad's. He loves it, and he can play it when he wants. But they, my mum and dad, only let me use my iPad after I've done my homework. It's not fair.
Justin.
We're a busy family. I'm a marketing manager. I'm well paid, but I've reached a stage in my life where I've realised work isn't everything. Work to live, don't live to work. I have a health app on my phone. It shows me how many steps I walk and how many flights of stairs I climb in a day. You have to aim for at least 10,000 steps. I'm your classic London commuter, but I never use escalators or lifts on the way to work. I walk as much as I can. But still, sometimes, at the end of the day, I have to go up and down the stairs at home to get my 10,000 steps. I do other things too. I play squash on a Tuesday evening, and I go running on a Sunday before I take Barney to his football. And watch miserably as his team loses again. He doesn't seem to mind. Football is king to him in whatever form. I don't much like the football games on the computer, but I do like a racing car game. Forza, it's called. But my fave is a game called Elite. I think it's because it's like a game I played when I was 10. It's basically like Star Trek. I always find time for that. Oh, yes, and once a year, in September, I go on a walking tour with 3 other guys in the Alps. It's exhausting, but I love the feeling after you've done it. I can even face the commute.
3.10. Making small talk. At a business conference in Chicago.
So, what do you think of Chicago, Bruno?
It's really interesting. Chicago's a great city, isn't it? There are some amazing buildings, and I find the people really friendly.
Yes, they are, aren't they? When did you get here?
I arrived yesterday. I flew in from Miami. My flight was a bit late landing because of wind, but that didn't matter at all.
Well, Chicago's often called the Windy City, you know.
Is it? I didn't know that.
And where are you staying while you're here?
I'm staying at the Avenue Hotel. It's convenient for the conference. My room isn't very big, but it's okay.
Oh, that's too bad. Never mind. And do you live in Miami, Bruno?
Yes, I do now. I live in a suburb not far from the sea, but I'm from Brazil originally. I was born in São Paulo.
Oh, so you're Brazilian. Your English is very good. Where did you learn it?
Oh, that's very kind of you. I'm sure I make lots of mistakes. I learned English in school for years, but also I've been working in the US for 5 years now.
Oh, have you? That's interesting. And how long are you here in Chicago for?
Only 5 days. I'm just here for the conference. I'm leaving on the 17th.
Oh, so soon. And have you managed to see anything of our city yet?
I've not seen a lot yet. I walked along the lakefront this morning, and I want to take a boat tour from Navy Pier and go up to the sky deck.
Oh, yes, you get a fabulous view of the city from up there. Well, Bruno, I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay.
Thank you, Erin. It's been really nice talking to you.
3.11. Answer, comment, and ask a question. 1,
Who do you work for?
2,
Do you enjoy your work?
3,
Where do you come from?
4,
Have you ever been to Chicago?
5,
This town's very exciting, isn't it?
6,
What do you do when you're not working?
7,
The weather's amazing at the moment, isn't it?
8,
Are you having a holiday this year?
9,
What's your favourite TV programme?
3.12. Listen and compare. 1,
Who do you work for?
Siemens. I've been with them for 4 years. They're a good company. How about you?
2,
Do you enjoy your work?
Yes, I do. It's quite hard, very challenging. But I like the challenge. What about you? Do you like your job?
3,
Where do you come from?
I was born in Montreal, and I've lived there all my life, near my parents. I'd like to live abroad sometime.
4,
Have you ever been to Chicago?
No, I haven't, but I'd love to. I've heard it's one of the most amazing cities in the world. Have you been there?
5,
This town's very exciting, isn't it?
Really? Do you think so? There isn't very much to do. I get so bored here. What do you find to do?
6,
What do you do when you're not working?
Well, I like horse riding, and I play squash, and I love music, so I often go to concerts. What about you?
7,
The weather's amazing at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, it's so mild. We haven't had any really cold weather at all. Have you heard the weather forecast for the weekend? It's supposed to be good, isn't it?
8,
Are you having a holiday this year?
Yes, I'm going to Mexico with some friends. I haven't been there before, so I'm really looking forward to it. Are you going away?
9,
What's your favourite TV programme?
I like a lot. Documentaries, quiz shows, and the news. I suppose I like everything. I'm quite a TV addict. Do you watch much TV?
4.1. William Shakespeare, 1564 to 1616.
When and where was Shakespeare born?
Shakespeare was born in April 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon. At that time, Stratford had a population of about 1,000, but just after his birth, 200 people were killed by the plague. Fortunately, William survived. His father, John Shakespeare, was a wealthy wool trader who owned 3 houses in the town. In the 1500s, it used to take 2 days to ride the 100 miles from Stratford to London.
Did Shakespeare go to school?
Shakespeare went to his local grammar school from the age of 7 until 15. Only boys attended school in the 16th century. They were taught Latin and had to memorize stories from history.
Did Shakespeare marry?
Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway, a farmer's daughter, in 1582, when he was just 18 years old. Anne was 28. They had 3 children, Susanna in 1583, and twins, Judith and Hamnet, in 1585. Hamnet died of the Black Plague in 1596, when Shakespeare was living and working in London.
What did Shakespeare do in London?
He came to London in about 1590, and by 1592 he had become a well-known actor and playwright. One of his first plays, Henry VI, was performed in the Rose Theatre in 1591. Then, for 2 years, from 1592 to 1594, theatres were closed because of the plague. This was when Shakespeare wrote most of his poetry. Most of his 37 plays were written between 1594 and 1613, after he had joined an acting company called the Lord Chamberlain's Men. The actors often used to perform for Elizabeth I. In 1597, they bought £10 shares in a new theatre, the Globe. This theatre was, and still is, a huge success.
Did Shakespeare ever visit Italy?
6 of Shakespeare's plays have an Italian background, including Romeo and Juliet and The Merchant of Venice. Because of this, many people believed that he had visited Italy, but there is no evidence of this.
Was Shakespeare famous in his own lifetime? When did he die?
He was famous during his lifetime. His plays and poems were held in high regard by other writers. He died on April the 23rd, 1616, in Stratford, and he was buried in Holy Trinity Church. It surprises many people that, in his will, the only thing he left his unfortunate wife was their second-best bed.
4.2. I didn't do much. 1.
What did you do last night?
I didn't do much. Just made myself something to eat, watched telly for a bit, and then bed by 10. I had an early night. I was asleep by 11. Boring.
2.
What did you do last night?
I went to my yoga class. It does me good after a day's work. Then some of us went for a drink. I got home about 9 and did a bit of online shopping. Just supermarket stuff. And that was it.
3.
What did you do last night?
I went to see a film with a couple of friends, the latest James Bond. It wasn't really my kind of thing. I liked the previous one better. Then I missed my train, so I didn't get home till after midnight. Not the best of nights for me.
4.
What did you do last night?
Well, that's easy. What I do every night. Studied till after midnight. I even took my laptop to bed. I've got a major exam coming up. Oh boy, I'm going to be out every night when it's all over.
4.3. How Shakespeare caused an air crash.
On October the 4th, 1960, a Lockheed Electra plane was taking off from Boston Airport in the US when a flock of about 20,000 starlings suddenly flew into its path. The plane crashed into the sea and 62 people were killed. The birds had choked the engines of the plane and brought it down. And tragically, only 19 people survived.
So, what is the link to Shakespeare?
The starling is not a species of bird that's native to North America. Starlings were introduced in 1890 by a New Yorker called Eugene Schieffelin. Schieffelin was not only interested in birds, he was obsessed with Shakespeare. He'd made a list of all the songbirds mentioned in Shakespeare's plays and poetry, and he wanted to introduce these birds to Central Park in New York. This he did. But some birds, such as thrushes and blackbirds, found it difficult to survive. Others, however, particularly the starlings, thrived, and by the 1940s they had spread across America from California to Alaska. They formed gigantic flocks of up to 1 million birds, and many native species, such as bluebirds and woodpeckers, were driven out. Schieffelin's romantic gesture not only caused an air crash, but an ecological disaster too. So, where does Shakespeare mention starlings? In all of his 37 plays and 154 poems, there is only one brief reference, and that's in Henry IV, Part 1.
4.4 Spelling and Pronunciation.
Good. Food. Blood. Enough. Through. Cough. Bought.
4.5 Which words rhyme? 1,
Love. Move. Glove.
2,
Some. Come. Home.
3,
Pair. Dear. Fear.
4,
Lost. Most. Post.
5,
Death. Breath. Beneath.
6,
Boot. Shoot. Foot.
7,
8. Weight. Height.
8,
Blood. Stood. Flood.
9,
Flower. Power. Lower.
10,
Allow. Swallow. Follow.
4.6 Write the word you hear.
Right. 8. See. Through. New.
4.7 Common words.
Answer. Biscuit. Fruit. Human. Cure. Receipt. Recipe. Vegetable. Woman. Women. Knee.
4.8 Reciting a poem. The Unfortunate Tale of Henry King by Hilaire Belloc.
The chief defect of Henry King was chewing little bits of string. At last he swallowed some which tied itself in ugly knots inside. Physicians of the utmost fame were called at once, but when they came, they answered, as they took their fees, "There is no cure for this disease. Henry will very soon be dead." His parents stood about his bed, lamenting his untimely death, when Henry, with his latest breath, cried, "Oh, my friends, be warned by me that breakfast, dinner, lunch, and tea are all the human frame requires." With that, the wretched child expires.
4.9 The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. London, late 19th century. 1.
Basil Hallward was working in his studio on a portrait of a beautiful young man when he was visited by his pleasure-loving friend, Lord Henry Wotton. Henry was very impressed by the portrait and wanted to meet this charming youth, Dorian Gray. This worried Basil.
It's the best work you've done. I must see Dorian Gray.
I don't want you to meet him.
2.
At that moment, Dorian arrived and, to Basil's distress, invited Henry to stay and watch. Immediately, Henry started to charm Dorian with his clever ideas about life. Basil continued painting, but Dorian was tired and went into the garden. Henry followed.
Lord Henry, are you really such a bad influence as Basil says?
I believe the only way to get rid of temptation is to yield to it.
3.
Dorian listened wide-eyed to Henry's words about the horrors of old age. He had never thought about this before. He viewed his youthful self in the finished portrait and felt troubled. It would never grow old and ugly. He would sell his soul to remain young forever, like the portrait.
Youth is the one thing worth having. Your beauty will go.
I will grow old, but the portrait will never be older. I would give my soul for that.
4.
Dorian and Henry soon became great friends, and Dorian began to seek new pleasures around London. One day, he confided to Henry that he had been to an old Shakespearean theatre in the East End and fallen in love with Juliet, a beautiful young actress called Sybil Vane.
Who were you in love with?
Sybil Vane. Night after night I go to see her play. I worship her.
5.
Sybil lived with her poor mother and brother James, who was preparing to sail to Australia. James was frightened for his beloved sister. She had told them of her great love of Prince Charming, whose real name she did not know, but who came to see her play each night.
Oh, I love Prince Charming.
Who is he? I'm sure he means you no good. If he does you any wrong, I'll kill him.
6.
Finally, Dorian asked Sybil to marry him. He invited Henry and Basil to see her act, so that they could see why he had fallen for her. She looked lovely as Juliet. Then she spoke. Her acting was terrible, meaningless. Dorian, embarrassed and furious, ended the engagement.
You have killed my love. What are you now? A third-rate actress with a pretty face.
Dorian! Dorian! Don't leave me!
.10 7
Dorian left Sybil and walked the streets. Arriving home at dawn, his eye caught the portrait and he jumped back in horror. The face had changed. His soft expression had become hard and cruel. Suddenly, he recalled what he'd said in Basil's studio. Dorian was afraid.
Have I been cruel? But oh, I wished for the portrait to grow old while I remained young. The picture shows my true self.
Next day, Dorian approached the portrait, sick with fear. He was gazing at it with disbelief when Lord Henry arrived. Dorian told him that he'd now decided to marry Sybil after all. Henry gasped. Dorian hadn't received his note. Sybil was dead.
I can't bear the idea of my soul being hideous. I will marry Sybil.
Oh, Dorian, Sybil is dead.
Dead? Sybil dead? It's a horrible lie!
Years passed. Dorian tried to drown his guilt in a life of pleasure and scandal. Basil came to confront him about his evil ways and reacted with horror when Dorian revealed the now hideous portrait. In a fit of rage, Dorian blamed Basil for all his suffering and stabbed his friend to death.
I don't believe it's my picture. It has the eyes of the devil. I want the Dorian Gray I used to paint.
It's too late, Basil.
Basil's body lay beneath the portrait, which was now sweating blood. A cruel and desperate Dorian contacted a former doctor friend, Alan Campbell, and managed to blackmail the horrified man into helping him get rid of Basil's body.
What devil's work are you up to now?
Alan, I had to kill him. He made me suffer.
You are mad, Dorian.
Dorian tried to forget Basil and the portrait. Again, he threw himself into his decadent life. One night, in a pub by the river, a sailor grabbed him from behind. It was Sybil's brother, James. But how could this youthful-looking man be Dorian? James ran off in fear.
You wrecked the life of my sister. She killed herself. Oh, no, forgive me, sir. The man I want must be nearly 40. You were little more than a boy.
12.
Finally, Dorian had suffered enough. He wanted his old life back. He went to see the portrait. To his horror, it had become even more repulsive.
He had to destroy it. He took a knife and stabbed the picture.
The police found the body of an ugly, wrinkled old man beneath a perfect portrait.
I will kill the past. I will be free.
It's Dorian Gray.
.11 Once upon a time, Richard and Ian.
Why is this your favourite story?
I think it's because I saw it on stage first. I was 7 and it was the first time I'd been to the theatre. I was fascinated by the flying and the magic, and it was frightening too. I was terrified of the pirates and Captain Hook. But I was at that age when you love being scared.
But Captain Hook was funny. He wasn't scary.
Well, he was scary to me. I really believed his hand was a hook.
Hadn't his hand been eaten by a crocodile?
Yes, and the crocodile had swallowed a clock. So before you saw it, you heard this tick-tock, tick-tock. And all the kids in the audience screamed to Captain Hook, "He's behind you! He's behind you!" Brilliant stuff.
Was Captain Hook your favourite character?
Oh, no. Peter was, of course. I love the idea of never growing up. It's brilliant. And being able to fly. Just opening your bedroom window and soaring over London to a country called Neverland. Magical.
I think a lot of people dream of flying. Didn't Peter have this really naughty fairy? What was her name again?
Tinkerbell.
Ah.
I liked her. She was so cheeky, really rude. And she hated Wendy. Remember Wendy? Tinkerbell was jealous because Peter loved Wendy. Actually, I wasn't too keen on Wendy either, or her brothers.
John and Michael.
Yeah, that's right. I thought being able to fly to Neverland was wasted on them and Wendy. She was a bit soppy.
And the dog. What about the dog?
Nana. Oh, I loved Nana. Poor dog. She was looking after the children when Peter taught them to fly and took them away. Do you know, I read the story now to my own kids, and they love it just as much as I did. Actually, I think I understand it more as a grown-up.
Why's that?
Well, I think growing up is quite a scary thing to do. Childhood is safe, no responsibility. Being an adult is tough. I think a lot of people would like to stay young forever.
True. Some people never grow up, do they? I suppose that's why it's called Neverland.
Beth and Anna.
I think I remember this story. I think my dad read it to me at bedtime.
My dad read it to me too, and I've just read it to my 4-year-old daughter. It was my favourite when I was little, and now it's her favourite too. Did you like it when you were a child?
Well, I used to love any story with princes and princesses who lived happily ever after.
But actually, this is a dark story. It's really sad and it's cruel. And the Wicked Witch is really wicked.
Wasn't it about a married couple who were longing for a baby?
That's right.
And then, when they finally had a baby, a wicked witch whisked it away.
Yeah, but only because the wife's husband had stolen salad stuff from the witch's garden.
Oh, I'd forgotten that.
Yeah. The wife craved lettuce, presumably because she was pregnant. And the husband was caught stealing it, so the witch took the baby, a girl, and when she became 16, locked her up at the top of a tower without any door or any stairs.
So, how did the witch get her into the tower in the first place?
You're too logical. Don't ask difficult questions. Anyway, the girl had beautiful, thick, long, very long blonde hair, And she used to throw it out of the window, so...
So there was a window?
Yeah, one window. So the witch used to call, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," and then climb up the hair to the girl.
Oh, wow!
Then one day...
I know. One day, a handsome prince came riding by on a white horse and saved the girl, and she became a princess and they lived happily ever after.
No, you're going too fast.
Oh.
The witch discovered the prince and threw him out of the window. He didn't die, but he was blinded and spent years wandering around.
What about the girl?
The witch took her to a desert. And finally, the prince heard her singing. They met, and her tears fell on his eyes, and...
Don't tell me. He could see again. And they went off together to his castle, got married, and lived happily ever after.
You got it.
4.12 Giving opinions.
So, what do you think of the latest Bond movie? It's really great, isn't it?
Definitely. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Do you think so? I'm not so sure. It wasn't as good as the last one.
Oh, yes, it was. I thought it was much more exciting.
It was okay, but it wasn't that good. My favourite will always be Skyfall.
Why? Because Daniel Craig was Bond?
No, of course not. But he does make a pretty good Bond, doesn't he?
Pretty good. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Do you two have a favourite Bond?
Me? No, not really. They're all so different.
For me, it's Sean Connery. Surely he's the best. He's the original. I've got the whole box set of all the Bond movies, and he was definitely the best.
I totally agree. He's the definitive James Bond. I love his Scottish accent.
Well, I do too, but you're only saying he's the best because he was the first. Who do you think the next Bond will be?
I've no idea.
Maybe they'll have a female Bond one day. Jemima Bond.
Now that's something I could be really enthusiastic about. Dum de dum 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 de dum 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 da da da. Jemima Bond saves the world.
4.13
It's great, isn't it? He does make a pretty good Bond, doesn't he?
4.14 Question tags. 1.
We had a great time in New York, didn't we?
We did. It was amazing.
2.
But the weather wasn't that good, was it?
It wasn't that bad.
3.
New Yorkers lead very busy lives, don't they?
Indeed they do.
4.
Our friends took us to a fabulous show on Broadway, didn't they?
They did. I just loved it.
5.
We'd never been to a musical before, had we?
Well, actually, I had. I went once in London.
6.
I lost my passport. I'm such an idiot, aren't I?
Well, you're certainly good at losing things.
4.15 Making opinions stronger. 1.
He was pretty good in the role.
Pretty good? He was absolutely wonderful.
2.
The talk was quite interesting.
Quite interesting. It was really fascinating.
3.
The bride looked quite nice.
Quite nice. She looked absolutely fabulous.
4.
I quite liked the chocolate dessert.
Quite liked it. I really loved it.
5.
He quite likes Maria.
Quite likes her. He totally adores her.
6.
The book wasn't very good.
Not very good. It was really awful.
7.
I don't like noisy bars.
Don't like them? I just can't stand them.
5.1 Everyday Dilemmas. 1.
I work in an office with a huge stationery cupboard. Do you think it's okay to take envelopes and pens home for my personal use?
Well, you shouldn't really. It's not allowed. So it is actually stealing?
The thing is, I'm seriously underpaid for the amount of work I do.
2.
I've just found a £20 note on the floor in the university library. Should I hand it in?
Yes, you must, of course. I'm sure whoever's lost it will ask if it's been found.
I don't trust that man on the desk, though. He seems to hate students.
3.
My partner often leaves the email inbox open on his laptop when he's out of the room. Is it wrong to have a look through his emails sometimes?
Of course it is. You need to give people some privacy, even in a relationship.
But I've noticed lots of emails from a girl I've never heard him talk about.
4.
That shop assistant has given me too much change. I don't know whether to go back and tell her.
You probably should. They sometimes take it out of their wages if cash is missing.
She was incredibly rude to me, though.
5.
I didn't enjoy that meal at all. Do you think we should leave a tip?
We don't have to leave one if we don't want to.
But the waitress was really nice.
6.
My friend says I don't need to buy the book for my university course. He'll make me photocopies of his. It doesn't seem wrong to me. What do you think?
It's not just that it's wrong, it's illegal. You know you're not allowed to make copies.
But the book costs a fortune to buy.
7.
Oh, no! I've dropped the sausages on the kitchen floor. They look fine. Do you think it's all right to serve them?
You can't give people food that's been on the floor.
It's very clean, though. And I don't know what else to give them.
8.
My laptop's picking up the neighbour's Wi-Fi and it knows the password from when she used it here. Do you think there's anything wrong with me using it?
Oh, you mustn't use it without asking her. It might end up costing her more.
No, I know she has unlimited broadband. And it's only while mine is broken.
5.2 Breaking the Rules. Conversation 1.
I can't believe it. We had to pay a fine for taking our kids on holiday in school term time.
Well, they're trying to put a stop to it. And to be honest, I don't think parents should make their kids miss school for a holiday.
That's because you haven't got kids. You don't have to pay the ridiculous prices they charge for flights during school holidays.
You don't need to go abroad on holiday. You should take them somewhere in this country.
Oh yeah. Very relaxing. Trying to keep 3 kids happy when it's cold and raining.
Conversation 2.
Do you see those 2 men over there?
Yeah? What about them?
They're smoking. They shouldn't be smoking in here.
Well, they are standing near the door.
It doesn't matter. You're not allowed to smoke anywhere in a public building. Everyone knows that. Do you think I should tell them to stop?
No, you mustn't get involved. They'll probably get all aggressive about it. Just ignore them.
No, we can't just sit here and do nothing. I think someone has to say something. Excuse me.
Conversation 3.
What an unpleasant man.
Well, you did nearly walk into him. I've told you before, you've got to stop texting when you're walking along the road.
I can text wherever I want to, thank you.
No, he had every right to tell you to watch where you're going. You can't walk along like that with your head down expecting everyone else to walk around you.
Well, he didn't need to be quite so rude.
I think you're the one who's being rude. If you must text while you're out shopping, you should stop somewhere and get out of everyone's way.
Oh, come on, everyone does it. You can't stop every time you want to look at your phone.
5.3 School Rules 1880 1.
Boys and girls had to enter the school through different doors.
2.
Children had to call teachers sir or ma'am.
3.
Children weren't allowed to ask questions.
4.
The children had to stand up to answer questions.
5.
Children didn't have to do any sports.
6.
In the afternoon, boys had to do woodwork while girls had to do cooking and needlework.
7.
Children weren't allowed to use their left hand for writing.
8.
Female teachers weren't allowed to get married.
5.4 Rules for Life 1. Ellie.
Oh, I love this quote so much. I think about it every time I'm on the dance floor. It's definitely the best way to have a good time. Well, other people aren't really paying attention to how I'm dancing, are they? They're all worrying about how well they're dancing. Now, the bit about loving, that's easier said than done. It's a lovely idea, but unfortunately human beings do have a very long memory for being hurt. And the singing bit, I can do that, no problem. In the shower. I know my family can hear me singing, but they never complain. Probably because they're even worse singers than I am.
2. Dan.
It makes me smile, that quote. I'd heard it before, actually, as a joke, about this man, Michael. He's very religious, but he's always moaning while he's praying to God and complaining that his prayers are never answered. He keeps saying, "Look, God, you don't have to answer all my prayers, but how about just this one thing? I mean, it happens to someone every week, so why can't it be me?" After years of this, God finally loses his patience and speaks to the man. "Michael, you've got to help me out here. Just buy a ticket, will you?" It's good because it shows that when we moan about our lives and say we're fed up with the way things are, we can't just sit and wait for new opportunities to come to us. We've got to do our bit too.
3. Amanda.
Oh, I know that one. It's a quote from Kierkegaard, the philosopher. I kind of hate it, actually, because it's one of the things I find most difficult about life. I mean, you learn lessons from what you've done wrong, but you can't go back and do it again and do it better. So, yes, as he says, we have to live life forwards, but I'm sorry, sometimes I can't help desperately wishing I could go back and do something again and get it all right.
4. Mark.
Both of these quotes really make me laugh. That one's actually true. If I see that the remote is on the other armchair, I will sometimes stay with the programme longer, and I might then change my mind about switching over. And it says something about modern life, the amount of choice we have, and how easy it is to keep switching from one thing to another. I'm just ancient enough to remember when there were only 3 or 4 TV channels, and you had to walk over to the TV to change them. So you didn't very often. And the internet doesn't help. Oh, I'm bored with this article. Click. Here's something else. I'm getting bored again. Click. I think this other quote is my favourite, though. It's hilarious. Things do seem to go a certain way on different days, don't they? And I'm certainly having a statue day today.
5.5 Have got to. 1.
Is your mum away?
Yeah, so Dad's got to do all the cooking.
2.
Where's my phone? I've got to call Jim.
It's where you left it, on the table.
3.
Can I go out now, Mum?
No, you've got to do your homework first.
4.
Have some more tea.
Thanks, but I've got to go now.
5.6 Part 3
One of the students raised her hand. Yes, Kirsty?
What about the beer? What does that represent?
Ah, I'm glad you picked up on that, said the professor, smiling. That's just to show that no matter how full your life seems, you can always find space for a drink with some friends.
5.7 Separable or inseparable? 1. I managed to get through the day.
I managed to get through it.
2. We both can't get over the shock.
We both can't get over it.
3. You'll need to look these words up.
You'll need to look them up.
4. Why on earth did you bring his divorce up?
Why on earth did you bring it up?
5. We'll look after your cat while you're away.
We'll look after it while you're away.
6. I'll go over my notes before the exam.
I'll go over them before the exam.
7. Do you take after your father or your mother?
Do you take after him or her?
8. They'll pick Carla up at the airport.
They'll pick her up at the airport.
5.8 Polite requests and offers. 1.
Is there any chance you could lend me £20?
I've only got £15. Would that be enough?
2.
Do you want me to record that film later?
Oh, yeah, do. We can watch it when I get back.
3.
Would you mind moving your car?
Oh, sorry. I didn't realise you couldn't get out.
4.
Could I borrow a pen for a second?
Sure. I think this one works okay.
5.
Can I give you a hand with those bags?
Thanks, that'd be great. I did a mega shop.
6.
Would you mind if I opened the window?
No, go ahead. It is very stuffy in here.
7.
Is there anything I can do to help?
No, the meal's nearly ready. Just sit down and relax.
8.
I could give you a lift into town if you want.
Oh, brilliant. Could you drop me at the station?
9.
Could you show me how you made that bold?
Yeah, I used the keyboard shortcut, Control B.
10.
I'll bring some food round if you like.
Oh, yes, please. I've got nothing in the fridge.
5.9
Can you move your car? Can you move your car?
5.10
Could you confirm that by email, please? Could I possibly use your phone charger? Would you mind if I asked you a personal question?
5.11 Requests and offers. 1.
Hi, it's me again. I've just realised I've got a doctor's appointment at 11 tomorrow morning. Could we possibly meet at 12 instead?
No problem. I could meet you for a working lunch if that's better.
That would be great.
OK, let's make it 12:30 then, in the canteen.
2.
Would you mind if we didn't go out to eat tonight? I'd really like to watch the football live.
No, that's fine. Would you like me to get a takeaway?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
OK, I'll get an Indian. And I might just watch some of the match with you.
3.
So how's my favourite grandson? How's school?
It's okay. Doing fine.
Liam, would you mind not texting while I'm talking to you? It's very rude.
Oh, really sorry, Gran. It was something really important. I'll put it away now.
4.
I hope you've enjoyed your stay with us.
Yes, we have. The room was lovely, with such a great view.
Good. Now, can I get you a taxi?
No, thanks. Our friends have come to give us a lift to the airport.
5.12. Writing for talking. 1. How to save a wet phone.
Have you ever dropped your phone in water or spilled a drink on it? If so, you're not alone. 1/3 of phones are lost because of water damage, and it doesn't always help if they're waterproof. Well, I can't promise anything, but today I'm going to tell you how you may be able to save a wet phone. First, you must get the phone out of the water as soon as possible. I know that might seem obvious, but it's important to realise that every second it's in the water, the more likely it is to be too damaged to repair. So don't stand there panicking and shouting, "Oh no!" Just rescue it immediately. Next, you must switch the phone off straight away to stop water damaging the electrical circuits. If it was off when it got wet, you must leave it off. You mustn't switch it on to see if it's working. Of course, you're dying to find out if it is, but switching it on at this point is the worst thing you could do. Now wipe off any water from the outside of the phone using some paper towels. Then gently shake the phone so that any water inside has a chance to come out. After that, you need to dry out the inside of the phone as much as possible. Don't use a hairdryer to try and dry it quickly. That might seem like a good idea, but the heat will do even more damage to the phone. It needs to dry out nice and slowly. So, get some uncooked rice and put it in a plastic box or bag and put the phone in the middle of the rice. Close the box or bag so that the air can't get in, and then leave it for about 48 hours. While it's drying out, you mustn't keep opening it to see what's happening. Be patient. After 48 hours, you can take it out and try switching it on. You might be lucky and find the phone is working perfectly. But be careful. You should back up everything on your phone as soon as you can, because there may still be a problem and it could stop working again later. Finally, if you need to take it to a repair shop or return it to the manufacturer, you have to be honest about what's happened. Most warranties don't cover water damage, and it's no good saying, "My phone's not working and I don't know why." They put things inside the phone that tell them it's been in water, so they'll know you aren't telling the truth. Anyway, good luck and take care of your phones.
6.1. Leonardo DiCaprio. 1.
Where and when was he born?
He was born in Los Angeles in 1974.
2.
What was his mother doing when she chose his name?
She was looking at a Leonardo da Vinci painting.
3.
When did he get his first film role?
He got his first film role in 1991 when he was 16.
4.
What was he filming when he had the most fun in his life?
What's eating Gilbert Grape?
5.
When did Leo Mania begin?
It began when he was 22, after he starred in Romeo and Juliet.
6.
How long has his foundation been supporting environmental causes?
Since 1998, when it was founded.
7.
When was he first nominated for an acting Oscar?
When he was 19.
8.
How many times has he been nominated?
6 times.
9.
Has he ever won an Oscar?
Yes, he finally won his first Oscar in 2016 for The Revenant.
10.
Which famous actors have appeared with him?
Robert De Niro, Johnny Depp, Claire Danes, Kate Winslet, and many others.
11.
How many model girlfriends has he had?
7 so far.
12.
How much money has he donated to conservation projects?
More than $70 million.
6.2. Switching saddles.
Sorry, did you say you're going to the races tomorrow? Since when have you been a horse racing fan?
Well, it's more that I've always been a fan of Victoria Pendleton. She's riding in a big race tomorrow.
But she's a cyclist.
Well, yes, she was. She won Olympic gold in Beijing and London. She was amazing, but in fact, she didn't enjoy competitive cycling that much. So she retired, and she's a jockey now.
Ah, really? I didn't know that. How long has she been a jockey?
She's only been in a few races so far, but she's been training hard for over a year. She'd never sat on a horse before that, though.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is. For the last year, she's been taking part in a challenge called Switching Saddles to see if she can ride in a top jump race within a year. She's been trained by the best people right from the start, of course.
It's still a huge challenge for a beginner, though. And those jumps always look scary to me. Has she had any falls?
Oh, yeah. She's fallen off a few times in training, and she came off in one of her first races. But she's fallen in love with horse riding completely, and I'm hoping to see her win her first big race tomorrow. Or at least stay on.
Brilliant. Good luck to her.
Yeah.
6.3. 1.
How long are you here for?
4 more days. We came 2 days ago.
2.
How long have you been here?
Since Monday.
3.
How long have you been here?
Over half an hour. Where have you been?
4.
How long are you here for?
Until Friday. We're leaving Friday morning.
5.
How long are you here for?
We're staying a month altogether.
6.4. Part 1.
And there are great adventures to be had in many different kinds of environments, forests, deserts, mountains. What is it that attracts you to the potential utter misery of the poles?
Well, if I'm honest, it was actually just an opportunity that came my way when I saw a newspaper advert that asked for applications to go to the North Pole. And I'm a great believer in taking up opportunities, so I applied and I found myself in the Arctic. Having got to the Arctic, I loved the place. It blew my mind away. You're walking on a crystal ice that moves, it makes sound, it groans. Yes, it's trying to kill you most of the time, but it feels like a living beast. Nature at its rawest, and I'd never experienced anything like that before, and I was hooked from day one.
All I'm getting from you now is positivity and optimism and joy, but I know for an absolute fact that it isn't always like that.
Most of the time it's not. Most of the time you're in agony, you're pulling a sledge and you're On our North Pole expedition in 2002, it was an 80-day expedition. On day 37, we had gone just 69 miles of the 500 miles. That's how slow we'd gone, barely 2 and a bit miles a day. Every inch of our body screamed with pain. But you know, the sense of achievement really overcomes the horror. And like anything in life, when we've finished and we've got through it, we take away the beauty and the greatness and the joy, not the pain and the horror. As I would imagine there would never be more than one child born if we didn't take the beauty away from the great experiences of life.
It's interesting you say that. Actually, Ranulph Fiennes talks about the fact that to be an explorer, and particularly a polar explorer, all you really need is a terrible memory. And that actually, you know, all that you take away with you is, as you're saying, really, those transcendent moments, and you forget about all of the chafing and the blisters and the gangrene.
6.5 Part 2.
You had a very normal childhood and upbringing.
Yeah, I was born in the city of Bradford, and that's quite an industrial city, and from working class parents where we were expected to leave school. I left at 15, just before my 16th birthday, and then we had to go get a job and bring income into the house. That's what we did. And that's what I did. And as a child, I had 4 older brothers, so we were always getting up to mischief. But as soon as I grew up, I took a normal job. I was in a bank, and I thought I would have children. The height of my ambition was to go back to the bank and progress to be a manager. And that was all my expectations were, up until I saw a newspaper advert. And it changed my whole world and perception and life.
Legendary climber Joe Simpson was, like you, the last of 5 children. And he talks about how, as a child, you were always seeking to find your niche in a family and in life. And as the 5th, all of those niches have already been taken, and you have to work even harder to try and impose your character. And he says that that's pretty much fundamental to how he got into becoming an explorer, an adventurer, and a climber. Do you think that that had any kind of formative part in your life?
Absolutely. But I would say possibly slightly different in, I was the 5th, but I was the only girl, so I had 4 brothers. So my psyche was, I never felt I was good enough or big enough or strong enough because I've got these boys who are running around, and I come from the kind of background where girls really weren't expected to be boys. And so I found that I was fighting because I wanted to be one of them. I wanted to be able to go and play football and climb the trees. And so I did. And you can guarantee if my older brother said, there's a really high tree there, who's going to do it? I'd be up there first. Not because I could or because I wanted to, because I wanted to prove myself to them. And just through doing that, I guess I became more daring, took more risks, and then found the joy of getting to the top of the tree and, wow, look what I've done. Especially if they couldn't do it, that was even better. So certainly I think being the last, you're always trying to prove yourself to your older siblings.
What do you think it is that's special about you that allows you to do the things you do?
Nothing more than stubbornness and bloody-mindedness. I haven't got any special qualities. I'm fairly intelligent, but I'm not a genius. I'm not stronger than anybody else. I am able to face my fears, and I'm able to put myself into difficulties and just keep going.
6.6 Saying numbers. 1.
150 or 150. 2,150. 680,575.
6.7 Saying numbers. 2.
07700 900 568.
0.5. 0 degrees centigrade. Italy 2, Germany 0.
6.8. 1,
What time does the train to Heathrow leave?
13:45.
2,
How far is it from London to the Bahamas?
4,342 miles.
3,
How long is the flight?
9.5 hours.
4,
How much is a return ticket?
£1,171.
5,
What's your credit card number?
6356 5055 5137 9904.
6,
What's the expiry date?
0724.
7,
How much does your suitcase weigh?
21 kilos.
8,
What's your mobile number?
07700 900 834.
9,
What's the VAT rate in the Bahamas?
7.5%.
10,
What's the average temperature?
Between 24 and 29 degrees centigrade.
6.9.
Good morning. Where are you flying to?
The Bahamas, Nassau, flight 860.
Okay, how many bags are you checking in?
Just the one?
Put it on the scales, please. I'm afraid that's over the weight limit, sir.
By how much?
Rather a lot, I'm afraid. It's 29.5 kilos, and you're only allowed 23. It means we have to charge an excess baggage fee of $75. That's 52 pounds.
What? That's the same as paying for an extra bag, isn't it?
No, a second bag would be $125. 87 pounds.
Whoa, that's steep. Well, I guess I'll just have to pay the charge then.
Sorry about that, sir. You can pay at the service desk over there, and, do you have carry-on luggage?
Yes, just this one.
I'm afraid that's going to be a problem too, sir. It's above the size restrictions.
What?
It won't go in the baggage check. It needs to be 55 by 35 centimeters. This will have to go in the hold.
Oh, no, I'm not paying another $125 for another bag.
Don't worry, sir. I won't charge you for that one.
Oh, well, thank you.
Here's your boarding pass. Your gate is 17A, and it'll start boarding at 11:35. Your seat number is 50C.
Thank you.
Oh, it's just come up on my screen. That flight's been delayed by 1.5 hours. You'll be boarding at 1:05 now. I am sorry.
It's just not my day, is it?
7.1. My worst exam result. Bidiarnot.
It's years since I took any exams, but I can still remember feeling sick with fear before each one. I was a bit of a nerdy student. I always did my homework and revised hard, so usually I didn't find it too difficult to pass exams. That's why the memory of the one exam I failed makes me shudder to this day. It was my domestic science exam. Well, at least that's what they used to call it in those days. It was, in fact, a cookery exam. And who could possibly fail that? I know all we ever learned to make in class were ginger biscuits and spaghetti bolognese, but I'm still not sure how I managed to fail. All I can remember is that one minute the fish pie was in my hands, the next it was face down on the floor. I tried to pick up the bits and arrange them in another dish, but it was hopeless, and I knew it. I failed miserably. My worst ever result. Ironically, today I am quite a good cook. I just hate making fish pie.
Ted Stockton.
I'm a teacher, and I think it's good to be able to say to my shocked students, I once got 9% in an exam. That was what I scored in the chemistry exam at the end of my first year at university. My other results weren't much better. I only just managed to get enough marks overall to allow me to continue to the second year. Actually, the dismal mark was no surprise. I'd had a ball in my first year and neglected my studies. But 9%. My tutors expected me to do better than that. The good thing was that I realised that my choice of degree was a big mistake, and I decided to change course and study English literature. A great decision because it resulted in me becoming a teacher. And when I want to warn my students about the dangers of not working hard, I tell them about my 9%.
Winston Laurent.
I wasn't a star pupil, but I was good at taking exams. I was particularly good at maths and physics, and I dreamed of becoming an astronaut. I hoped to be the first black guy on Mars. Failing that, a stockbroker in the city and make millions. Our maths teacher let us work at our own speed, and by the time I was 14, I was years ahead of the rest of my class. My teacher encouraged me to take the advanced level maths exam at 14, but I was worried about being called a swot, so I refused to. I stopped working so hard. Then, when I finally took the exam at 18, I failed miserably. I could no longer look forward to being an astronaut or a stockbroker. I studied politics and sociology instead, and finally became a TV news reporter. I love it, but I'd have preferred to walk on Mars.
7.2. Who is speaking? 1.
You're such a swot. You never stop working. Come and play football with us.
2.
Sir, we'd like to know why you got such a low mark.
3.
Oh my goodness, what a mess! You have no chance of passing now.
4.
Good evening. Talks have broken down with the train drivers, and they're expected to go on strike next week.
5.
Oh, I didn't mean to drop it. It was an accident.
6.
OK, I hope you all managed to finish writing the essay on the Romantic poets.
7.3. I was a horrible teenager.
I feel bad about it now. I was a horrible teenager. I made my poor mum and dad suffer so much, for so much. I didn't mean to, but my friends were all important and mum and dad were just embarrassing.
Tell me about it. I'll never forget going on this awful picnic with mine. I was about 14, I think.
Didn't you want to go?
Well, no, they forced me to. We drove to the countryside and stopped to have our picnic by the river. My dad put a rug down on the grass and wanted me to join them, but I refused to. I wouldn't get out of the car.
Why not?
Oh, you know, I felt embarrassed. I didn't like the idea of sitting with my mum and dad on a rug, eating egg and tomato sandwiches. Just wasn't cool.
Oh, your poor mum and dad.
Well, I remember standing in our kitchen yelling, I hate you, at my parents.
Why? What had they done? Or more to the point, what had you done?
Oh, I persuaded them to let me go to this big party. And it was near my exams, and I promised to be home by midnight,
And of course you weren't.
No, it was 2 o'clock, and they kept calling me, and I didn't answer my phone. I was grounded for a month.
Well, I remember when I'd just passed my driving test and I begged my mum to let me borrow her car and I crashed it, turned it over in a ditch.
Oh, you two were horrible. Me, I was such a boring teenager. I didn't behave badly at all. My mum and dad were kind of cool, so maybe I didn't need to.
7.4. The reduced infinitive. 1.
Did you post my letter?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to.
2.
I can't go out with you this evening. Sorry.
Oh, but you promised to.
3.
Why did you give Lily my number?
Because she asked me to.
4.
Do you think you'll apply for that job?
No, I've decided not to.
5.
Were they a difficult team to beat?
Yes, but we managed to.
6. Are you taking Nick to the airport?
Well, I offered to, but he said I didn't need to.
7.5. The best of friends. Kate.
I had a best and worst friend. She was called Carly Robson. Everyone wanted to be Carly's friend. She could pick and choose her friends. She was really athletic, great at all sports, especially running and hockey. Teachers loved her because she won so many trophies for the school. She could do no wrong. Every now and then, when there was no one more interesting around, she'd let me be her friend, and we'd go shopping together or something. Stupid me. Then she'd just drop me, walk past me in the corridor. I hate myself now for being so upset, but it took years for me to realise that she just wasn't worth it. She got bored with sport eventually. I'm not sure what she's doing these days. Last I heard, she was working in a pub.
Dave.
Well, I met my best friend on my first day at university. I just moved into my student room when this huge family arrived to move Danny into the room next to mine. I'm an only child, so 3 small boys kicking off in the corridor outside my room filled me with horror. And then, when they finally left, there were so many tears and hugs as they all said goodbye to their precious Danny. My dad had brought me to uni, and he had left after 5 minutes after a quick hug. Anyway, Danny and I introduced ourselves, and in no time we were talking and laughing together. So that was the beginning. Then we discovered we had a lot in common. We were on the same course, and we both loved cooking. We ended up doing a lot of cooking for the other guys on our corridor. Well, that was 12 years ago. And we're still best friends. In fact, we're married. We're married and expecting our first baby. You see, Danny is Daniela. She's my best friend and my wife.
Molly.
My best friend started out as a pen friend. It's a remarkable story in a way. When I was 12, our teacher, Miss Pott, we had fun with that name, started a pen friend club at school. She had the names of lots of 12-year-old girls in America and Canada who wanted English pen pals. And I got Carol Swift from Toronto. We started exchanging letters about school and sport, and then we just kept on writing and eventually emailing. We exchanged birthday and Christmas cards and wrote about all sorts. Boyfriends, driving lessons, marriage, babies, divorce, good times, bad times. I felt that I really knew Carol. I could tell her anything and everything. But we didn't actually meet until we were 45. Carol came to London and we had a great 2 days together. I felt I'd known her all my life. Well, I suppose I had in a way. Now, of course, we Skype as well, and I've been over to Toronto twice.
Sam.
When I was in nursery, Martha was my best friend. I loved Martha, but I'm not her best friend anymore. She's a girl, and I don't want a best girlfriend. So, Oliver's my best friend now. We met in class 1. Martha cried when I told her. She did, really. But she's got lots more best friends now. I don't know why I like Ollie. That's what we call him. But maybe it's 'cause we do stuff together, like football and stuff. Mrs. Morgan, she's our teacher, calls us the terrible twins because we look the same. We've both got blonde, spiky hair, and we make a lot of noise. Well, she says we do. We have sleepovers at each other's houses. I kind of like that, but I miss Mummy. I take my bunny blanket and Ollie brings his monkey when he comes to us, so it's okay.
7.6 Body language. 1.
Bob's hopeless at all sports. He can't even kick a football.
2.
The cat got up the tree easily enough, but I had to climb a ladder to get her down.
3.
Daniel, stop staring out of the window and get on with your work.
4.
Since you whistled that tune, I can't get it out of my head.
5.
I hate it when my Aunt Mary hugs me tight. She wears this disgusting perfume and I smell of it afterwards.
6.
Daisy, you'll get brain freeze if you eat your ice cream so fast. Lick it gently.
7.
Do people kneel down to pray in all religions?
8.
I keep trying to stop biting my nails, but I can't. I can't kick the habit.
9.
I'm terrified of blowing up balloons in case they go pop.
10.
Don't scratch that insect bite. You'll get an infection.
11.
By the end of the concert, we were all clapping our hands in time with the music.
12.
The CCTV camera showed the gunman pointing a gun at the bank clerk.
13.
My dad's useless at doing DIY. He can't even hit a nail with a hammer.
14.
My 2-year-old nephew is so cute. He loves marching up and down like a soldier.
7.7 You poor thing. Conversation 1.
Oh dear, what happened to you?
Oh, I fell and twisted my ankle.
You poor thing. How did you do that?
Well, I was walking and texting and I didn't see this bump in the pavement and...
So you fell while texting? And you've only got yourself to blame.
Conversation 2.
How was the restaurant?
It was so bad. We're not going back there again.
Why not?
Well, I found a caterpillar in my salad. I nearly swallowed it.
Ugh! How disgusting!
Conversation 3.
My phone's broken. It fell down the loo.
Oh no! Oh no! What a disaster! Is it completely ruined?
No, I've put it in a bag of rice.
You've done what? Why?
Well, someone told me the best way to dry it out is to leave it in rice for 48 hours.
Rice? That's such nonsense. I bet it won't work.
7.8. Exclamations. 1,
His lectures are so boring. I can't help falling asleep.
2,
Is it for me? How lovely. That's so kind of you.
3,
What a coincidence! I didn't know Tom was your cousin.
4,
You won £1,000? What loans? What luck! I never win anything.
5,
That's such a stupid idea. It'll never work.
6,
We had such terrible weather. It rained every day.
7.9. Conversation 4.
I hear you aren't coming to Max's 18th. What a pity.
Yes, it is, but it's my grandpa's birthday too.
But everyone's going to Max's. It'll be such fun.
I know, but it's grandpa's 80th.
Oh, well, don't worry. Max will understand. An 80th birthday is more important than an 18th.
Conversation 5.
Carl texted Anna to say that he dumped her.
How dreadful! How dreadful! He couldn't tell her face to face.
Yeah, he's such a coward.
Oh, well, I think she's well rid of him, don't you?
Conversation 6.
My Wi-Fi keeps disconnecting.
How frustrating. But you know what they say.
What?
Just try turning everything off and on again.
Yeah, I know, but I have to do that 2 or 3 times a day. It's so annoying.
Time to call an engineer.
8.1. Questions to Siri. 1,
Are you human, Siri?
Close enough, I'd say.
2,
What are you doing after work?
What am I doing? I'm talking with you.
3,
Where have I put my keys? Where have I put my keys?
They'll probably be in the second to last place you look.
4,
When will pigs fly, Siri?
When they figure out how to buy tickets.
5,
When is the world going to end?
As long as you keep me charged, we should be just fine.
8.2. AlphaGo, a breakthrough for artificial intelligence.
Why was it so important when the computer program AlphaGo beat a human at the Chinese game of Go in 2016? A computer had beaten a world chess champion 20 years before, so what was new? Well, Go is more difficult and demanding than chess, and the computers that used chess programs could only do what humans had programmed them to do. AlphaGo was a new kind of program which learns by itself. It learned 150,000 human games of Go and then played against itself over 1 million times each day. It quickly learned from its mistakes and developed a style of play that was so individual it shocked even its creators. Real artificial intelligence had truly arrived, along with all the hopes and fears of what it might mean for our future.
8.3. Experts give their views on artificial intelligence. Lee Seedall, professional Go player.
Robots will never understand the beauty of the game the same way that we humans do.
After his defeat, Lee said that he hadn't expected AlphaGo to play the game so perfectly.
Demis Hassabis, creator of AlphaGo.
It's very exciting to start imagining what it might be able to tackle next.
Hassabis thinks AI is still decades away from human-level intelligence, but could soon help solve problems such as climate change and cancer.
Nick Bostrom, philosopher.
Machine intelligence may be the last invention that humanity will ever need to make.
Bostrom says that the machines will then be better at inventing than we are, but he warns us that we must make sure they follow our preferences, not their own, not their own.
Stephen Hawking, cosmologist.
Success in creating AI would be the biggest event in human history. Unfortunately, it might also be the last.
Hawking worries that the development of artificial superintelligence could be the end of the human race.
Nigel Shadbolt, AI professor.
The danger is not artificial intelligence, it's natural stupidity.
Shadbolt agrees that AI machines might do things we don't expect, but says they're not going to take control unless we're stupid enough to invite them to.
Kim Simmons, AI consultant.
AI can help us to focus on what humans are uniquely good at.
AI may mean that more jobs are done by machines, but Simmons says they won't be able to compete with us in creativity and human-to-human skills.
8.4. Discussing grammar. 1.
Are you driving to France next week?
We're not sure. We might fly this time.
2.
Aren't you going to take a jacket?
No, I'm not. The forecast said it's going to be very warm today.
3.
Do you fancy going to the cinema this evening?
Sorry, I'm working late tonight. How about tomorrow night? I'll call you.
4.
What are you doing Saturday night?
I'm not sure yet. I may go round to a friend's house to watch the football, or he may come round to mine.
5.
Are you not going to have any wine?
No, I'm driving everyone home.
6.
Are you still having problems with your neighbours?
Yes, they've been getting worse. We're going to try and move.
7.
Oh no! 3-0 down at half-time.
Come on, you never know. I think we could still win.
8.
You're out every night. You won't pass those exams next month, you know.
I know. I'll work harder nearer the time. I promise.
8.5. Is a robot going to take my job? 1. Jessica. Jessica.
Some news stories are already written automatically, sports and business ones where it's mostly the numbers and names that change. That'll happen more, but I don't think machines will ever replace really good journalists. And I'm going to take time off and write a novel next year. Now, a machine writing a truly great novel about what it is to be human, that's not going to happen.
2. Rob.
It's obvious machine intelligence is going to take over a lot of the work junior lawyers have done in the past. But I'm fine with that. I'll be happy for a machine to do all the boring research into past cases. A brilliant lawyer has to know how to play on human emotions in court, and a robot won't be able to do that.
3. Derek.
Well, they say these driverless cars could take over the roads, so my job's not safe. But there's going to be accidents for sure. And then there'll be big problems. I mean, like, who'll be to blame? The car? The bloke that programmed it? And I'll tell you what we should do. Replace them politicians with intelligent robots. They might have some better ideas. And tell the truth.
4. Hillary.
There are some restaurants now that are run by robots. People may go for it because it's new and different, so yes, my job is at risk. But they'll soon miss the human contact. And really, it depends on us to make the most of that. I mean, a slow, rude, unhelpful waiter or a robot? Which are you going to choose? But a warm, friendly, funny waiter or a robot? The human's gonna win every time.
8.6. 1.
I think my job will be safe. No robot could do it.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have a problem.
2.
I don't think you'll like that film. It's a bit too violent.
I won't go and see it then. I hate violence.
3.
I think you and Joe will get on well. You have a lot in common.
Yes, I think we could become good friends.
4.
I don't think we'll eat here again. The food wasn't great.
Yes, I'm certainly not going to leave a tip.
8.7. 1.
It's not going to rain. There isn't a cloud in the sky.
2.
You're not going to die. You've only got a cold.
3.
Liverpool are going to win. It's 4-0 with 10 minutes left.
4.
She's going to get a divorce. She's already been to a lawyer.
8.8. A brighter future.
This week on Brighter Futures, we're asking the big question. How can we keep the lights on? Where is our energy going to come from if we have to stop using fossil fuels? Our guest is Nicole Clark, a professor in energy technology. Nicole, can we really make big cuts in the amount of fossil fuels we use?
We'll have to if we're serious about keeping the rise in global temperatures to below 2 degrees. But we don't have to be gloomy about it. We should start getting excited about other energy options because the possibilities are exciting.
OK, let's look at them then. Wind power. People have strong feelings about that, don't they?
Yes. Some people are pretty negative about wind farms, saying they spoil the countryside. How do you feel about them?
I like seeing 1 or 2 wind turbines. They can be quite beautiful. But when there are a lot of them together, I don't know, there is something a bit almost scary about them.
Getting them offshore is the best solution. The UK now has the world's largest offshore wind farm, you know. It's in the Thames estuary east of London.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. Denmark is the leader, though. 40% of its electricity comes from wind, and they're going to try and get to 80% by 2035.
What about solar power? Who's the leader there?
At the moment, it's Germany.
Really?
Yes, which shows you don't need to be a very sunny country to make use of it. On some summer days, 50% of Germany's electricity comes from solar power.
But solar panels can look ugly on buildings, can't they?
But they are getting much thinner, so you don't really notice them, and they can even be a part of the windows of a building. It's an amazing fact that just 1 hour of the solar energy that lands on Earth is enough to power the whole world for a year, so we really do need to make more use of it.
And it's obviously great for sunny countries.
It's in those countries that you get the big solar parks that focus the sun's rays to heat water and produce electricity. The Evampa plant in America's Mojave Desert is the biggest. It uses 347,000 mirrors, over 1/3 of a million. It's incredible.
Yes, I've seen it. It looks like something from science fiction. It's amazing.
But the real dream solution is fusion energy, and that's a real possibility.
Fusion energy is nuclear energy, yes?
Yes, but it's not like the nuclear energy we use now. It's clean and it uses hydrogen, which you can make from seawater, so we'll never run out of it. The problem is you need to do it at temperatures of over 100 million degrees Celsius.
That sounds like a big challenge.
Yes, but it's been done. Only for a minute or two, though, and very expensively. People think fusion energy could be a major source of electricity in 30 to 40 years, but I'm pretty sure we could do it a lot sooner with more research. We haven't spent nearly enough on research into new forms of energy because we thought we could keep going with coal, oil and gas, but that's all going to change now.
8.9. Spoken English. It's pretty good. 1.
Did your team win?
No, but they played pretty well, so they only lost 1-0.
2.
You haven't lost your passport, have you?
No, I'm pretty sure it's in my bag somewhere.
3.
Do you like skiing?
Yes, I do, but I'm pretty hopeless at it.
4.
What do you think of my English?
I think it's pretty good.
8.10. Prefixes and suffixes. 1.
I'm going to stay awake for 2 weeks.
That's impossible.
2.
Is the past tense of sleep sleeped?
No, it's slept. It's irregular.
3.
Why can't you buy and sell chewing gum in Singapore?
Because it's illegal.
4.
Quick, quick! Bring me my coffee now!
Don't be so impatient.
5.
What happened to my document? It was there on the screen and it's gone.
Has it just disappeared?
6.
I can never write accommodation correctly.
Yes, it's easy to misspell.
7.
The electricity went off exactly as the football match was about to begin.
That was unlucky.
8.
Do we have to get dressed up for the welcome party?
No, it's informal, so wear what you like.
8.11. Changing word stress. 1.
The doctors are going to operate on my grandma's knee.
Oh dear. I hope the operation goes well.
2.
That's an amazing photograph, isn't it?
Yes, it's by Matt Hennick. He's one of my favourite photographers.
3.
Do you think it would be preferable to phone people rather than email them?
Yes, I'm sure everyone would prefer that.
4.
Did you explain the homework to Maria?
I did, but I don't think she understood my explanation.
8.12. Arranging to meet.
Kevin, it's me, Jeff.
Jeff, long time no see. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Listen, I'm up in town later this week for a conference, and I might stay on till Sunday morning. I was wondering if we could meet.
Oh, I'd love to. But this weekend of all weekends, I'm incredibly busy.
Come on, Kev. You must have some free time.
Hang on, let me check my diary. Okay, go for it.
Right. What are you doing Friday evening?
Let me see. Sorry, I can't do Friday evening. It's my tango class. I really don't want to miss it, 'cause, well, there's this girl in the class that I'm really interested in.
Oh, say no more.
So I could meet you late afternoon before the class.
No, that won't work. That won't work. The conference doesn't finish till 6:30 on the Friday. Have you got any free time on Saturday morning?
No. I'm having my hair cut at 10 o'clock, and then I'm meeting my sister. She's going to show me the flat she's thinking of renting, and we're having lunch after that. I'm free most of the afternoon, though.
That's no good, I'm afraid. I've arranged to meet some people from the conference. They could be useful contacts. So, how about Saturday evening? Does that work for you? Or are you doing something then?
Yeah, sorry, the evening's out for me. I'm going to the theatre with some friends. It's been booked for ages. But I have an idea. What time are you leaving on Sunday?
Late morning. I'm getting the train at 11:55.
Well, then why don't we meet at the station?
Yeah, that's a great idea. We could have a coffee there.
I've got a better idea. There's a cafe next to the station that does a really good full English breakfast. Let's meet there and have breakfast. Shall we say 9:30?
Oh, can we make it 10 o'clock? It is Sunday, you know.
Fine, 10 it is. And I hope the conference goes well.
Thanks, Kev. See you Sunday.
8.13 Pronunciation 1,
I was wondering if we could meet.
2,
What are you doing Friday evening?
3,
So I could meet you late afternoon before the class.
4,
I'm free most of the afternoon, though.
5, 6.
So, how about Saturday evening? Does that work for you?
6.
Then why don't we meet at the station?
7,
Let's meet there and have breakfast. Shall we say 9:30?
8.
Can we make it 10 o'clock?
8.14 Writing for Talking 2. My cause for concern.
The thing I'm concerned about at the moment is the influence that video games may have on children. Let me explain why. I've been reading lots of newspaper articles on the subject, and I also have a personal interest. You see, I have a younger brother, Craig. He's 13 years old, and I'm afraid he's becoming a video game addict. Just a few years ago, Craig had many interests. He played football, he was learning judo, he went out on his bike with his friends. He was a happy, fun-loving boy. Now, he spends hours every day in front of a screen, in a virtual world, playing virtual games, usually violent ones, and he becomes really angry if our parents tell him to stop. Research shows that children between the ages of 2 and 5 regularly play video games, and that by the age of 8, they spend an average of 25 minutes on them. It's much easier to find ways to play video games than it used to be because of tablets and smartphones. This is not a problem for most children. However, by their early teens, a small minority have become addicts, playing for at least 30 hours a week. Dr. Mark Griffiths of Nottingham Trent University, an expert in video game addiction, finds this figure worrying. He says that children may become so addicted that they stop doing homework, start playing truant, and even steal money in order to buy the games. It's likely that this addiction will only get worse with the coming of virtual reality headsets, which make the experience of getting completely lost in a virtual world even more powerful. I have two more concerns. Firstly, I worry that the violence in the games could cause children to become more violent. My brother isn't violent, but he is certainly bad-tempered if he is stopped from playing. Secondly, I worry that sitting without exercise for so long is bad for your health. Craig often plays 5 hours a day, and some days his thumbs are really painful and he can't sleep because he is overexcited. His schoolwork is going from bad to worse. Finally, Dr. Griffith says that more research is needed, but I don't need to read more research to conclude that video games cause problems. He should come and meet my brother. That's all the evidence he needs.
9.1. How nice are people really? 1.
In a large online poll, 81% of people said they would hand the bag in. Most studies on selfishness show that generally people are nicer than we think they are.
2.
People would be much less likely to help if there were other people around because they would expect someone else to help.
3.
People would be much more likely to help a child who said he was lost if they lived in a small town. Half of the people who lived in big cities said they'd worry that someone was using the child to get money from them.
4.
Drivers of cheaper cars would be 3 times more likely to stop for people.
5.
Many studies have shown that only children are no more selfish than anyone else. They've often had so much attention themselves, they're good at giving it to others.
9.2. Who cares? An experiment.
A group of student priests were asked to prepare a talk on the story of the Good Samaritan. They were then told to go to another building to give their talk. As they left, half of the students were told they were late and had to hurry. The others were told they had plenty of time. On the way, there was a man lying on the pavement, clearly in pain. It was an actor. 63% of the students who thought they had plenty of time stopped to help. But only 10% of those who thought they were in a hurry stopped. Some of them said that they hadn't noticed the man as they hurried past, but many of them stepped over him in order to go and give a talk on the Good Samaritan.
9.3. Contracted forms. 1.
If I'd known, I'd have come.
2.
She wouldn't have come if it had rained.
3.
If they'd helped, we might have managed it.
4.
You shouldn't have done that.
5.
We could have told you if you'd asked.
9.4. You're an idiot. 1.
I drove home, even though I was falling asleep at the wheel.
You're an idiot. You might have had an accident. You could have killed someone.
2.
I didn't feel like going to work. I phoned in sick and then went shopping.
That was stupid. Someone from work might have seen you. You could have bumped into your boss.
3.
I took a bag through customs for a man who asked me to.
You shouldn't have taken it. There could have been something illegal in it. It might have been drugs.
4.
I went out in the sun with no sun cream on.
You're crazy. You might have got sunstroke, and you could have got sunburnt.
5.
I walked home along the side of the motorway.
You idiot. A car might have hit you. You could have caused a big accident.
6. I told my girlfriend I was too busy to go out, and then I went to the pub with Jane.
That was dumb. You shouldn't have gone out. Your girlfriend might have gone to the same pub. Or one of her friends could have seen you with Jane.
9.5. 9.5. I just want to say thank you. 1.
Well, I was in Iran crossing the Persian desert. It was so very, very cold. I hadn't expected this, and I was worried that I couldn't feel my fingers anymore. I was driving on this scooter, and I had no gloves, and I was going on this long road. Suddenly I saw there was a car, and as he got closer, he pulled his car in front of me and stopped and got out. Then he just simply took the lovely sheepskin gloves from his own hands and gave them to me. He couldn't speak English. I couldn't speak Farsi, his language, but he was away in a flash, and I never said thank you to the person who probably stopped me losing my fingers. Wonderful.
2.
In 2003, I was coming back from South Africa from a holiday, and I hate early morning in Heathrow, and I had to go on the tube. So by the time I got to my least favourite tube station, which is Earl's Court, it was packed rush hour, and I just could not see with so many people. I couldn't see when the train came in, and there were two young girls who said, "Can we help you?" And they stood on top of a thing, 'cause they weren't terribly tall themselves, and so they could see the train. They helped me on when it arrived. They'd insist on lifting my luggage, and found a place, and made somebody stand up for me to sit down. And, well, it was just lovely. I would love to thank them, but they weren't... They'd probably never remember, but they were just so... Just help me at the time I most needed it.
3.
Back in the 80s, about 30 years ago, my wife and I thought we would do some shopping on a Saturday morning in Oxford Street. And we were with our young children, who were then 2, 4 and 6 years old. And we were on the first floor of a clothes shop, just browsing around, and I suddenly realised that my 4-year-old son was missing. And I had a quick look round on the first floor, dashed down to the ground floor, and there was no sign of him. So I had to go out into the street, by which time I was really starting to panic. And I just found myself running up and down the street, calling out his name and going into shops, and it was just about the worst moment of my life. But fortunately, my wife was much calmer and phoned the local police station, and to our amazement, they said that our son was there. Apparently, what had happened is that a woman, this amazing woman, had seen my boy standing on the pavement crying and clearly frightened, and made the decision to get a taxi and take him to the police station. But she never left any contact details, name and address, nothing. So this has been the only opportunity for me to ever say thank you to this amazing woman whose actions saved the day. I sometimes dread to think what might have happened to him, so if you're listening, thank you so much.
4.
My daughter lost a purse which we'd bought her years ago. I too had recently lost a purse. I left it on a bus. 2 young girls claimed it, so we thought the same thing would have happened to Tamsin's purse. The exceptionally kind person who picked it up found the address on the driving licence, and put the purse with all its contents in an envelope and sent it to her. We were both really struck that someone could be so kind and go to so much trouble, and it was such a contrast with the experience that I had recently had, and I would love to be able to say thank you to that person.
9.6. Just. 1.
Alice isn't here. She's just gone.
2.
I just love your present. It's just perfect.
3.
Abingdon is just south of Oxford. It's only 8 miles away.
4.
I've just finished reading that book, so you can borrow it.
5.
I don't want any wine. Just a glass of water, please. Just a glass of water, please.
6.
Wow, that chocolate cake is just amazing.
7.
Who's coming tonight?
Just me. Claire can't make it.
8.
We just missed the train. We were only a minute late.
9.7. Words with different meanings. 1.
Oh no. Boring Barry keeps asking me out. He's just invited me to the cinema tonight.
Well, make it obvious you're not interested. Tell him you're washing your hair tonight.
2.
Shh. Did you hear that noise? It sounded like someone in the garden.
It's probably just a fox. They often come round here at night.
3.
That china plate on the wall is gorgeous.
Yes, my grandmother left that to me. It's probably worth quite a bit.
4.
I didn't like any of my school teachers.
Shame. If you'd liked them, you might have stayed on at school.
5.
I lent James £20 2 weeks ago, and he's never mentioned it since.
He's obviously forgotten about it. If he'd remembered, he'd have paid you back by now.
6.
What's on the agenda for today's meeting?
Oh, the usual discussion points, new plans, strategies, targets, and a review of why none of the last ones have worked.
7.
You can't keep taking on so much work. You've got to be sensible about what's possible.
I know. I need to think more before I say yes to work offers.
8.
Could you bring that chair over here?
Which one? The red one?
9.8. 1.
What about this silk designer dress?
It's lovely, but it's out of my price range.
2.
Here's your bill.
Thank you. Is service included?
3.
Hello. What's your exchange rate for euros to pounds sterling?
It's 0.79 at the moment.
4.
Could I have a strawberry ice cream, please?
Sure, that's £1.80. You'd better be quick. The film's about to start.
9.9. 1.
What about this silk designer dress?
It's lovely, but it's out of my price range.
So, what kind of price did you have in mind?
Oh, £1,000 would be my limit.
You could spread the cost over 12 months if you wanted to.
I don't like buying things on credit. If I bought it and changed my mind, could I bring it back and get a refund?
Yes, as long as it's not been worn.
OK. I think I'll leave it for now, actually. Thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.
2.
Here's your bill.
Thank you. Is service included?
No, it isn't. How was your meal? Was everything okay?
Yes, it was all very nice, thank you.
So, if you could enter your PIN number, add a tip if you want to, and then press enter.
Can I not do contactless?
No, I'm afraid that's only below £30. OK, here's your receipt.
Thanks. And that's for you. I prefer to give tips in cash.
Oh, thank you. Come again soon.
I will. Bye.
3.
Hello. What's your exchange rate for euros to pounds sterling?
It's 0.79 at the moment.
And do you charge commission?
It's commission-free above £150.
Okay. So how many pounds would I get for 250 euros?
£197.50. But we've only got sterling in notes. You could have £200 for 254 euros?
Yes, that would be fine.
OK. If I could just have your passport. So, how would you like the money?
Could I have 7 20s and 6 10s, please?
There you go. Have a nice day.
And you. Bye.
4.
Could I have a strawberry ice cream, please?
Sure, that's £1.80. You'd better be quick. The film's about to start.
Oh, OK, thank you. Here you are. I'm sorry, I haven't got anything smaller.
That's okay. And here's your change.
Thanks. I think you've made a mistake.
Sorry?
You've given me the wrong change. I gave you a £20 note and you've given me change for a 10.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm daydreaming today. There you go.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
10.1. What do you see?
These are great fun. Let's see if we can work them out.
OK. I can see 2 rabbits.
2? No. That one isn't a rabbit.
It looks like a rabbit to me. It's got big ears.
No, those are horses' ears. That picture's a horse or a seal.
It might be a horse, but I can't see a seal. But there's definitely a rabbit in this picture. A rabbit and a duck.
Yeah, they're easy to see. Now what about this one? I can see the word good.
Good? I can't see good, but I can see evil.
That's interesting. I can't see evil. Oh, yes, now I can. I can see both words now. That's really clever.
Oh, this drawing's clever too. It looks like 4 shelves, but there can't be 4.
Yeah, 4 or 3. It depends how you look at it. And this is another clever drawing.
Which one?
The one with a parallel bar.
Parallel? It doesn't look parallel at all. It looks like a seesaw.
It is parallel. I checked it with a ruler.
Wow, amazing. The diagonal lines must be creating the illusion.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Now, what about the guy with the earring? He could be looking straight at me. On the other hand,
He might be looking at me. And that guy, the soldier, doesn't he look miserable?
That's not a soldier. It's someone touching their toes.
It must be a soldier. He's wearing a helmet. And he's got his eyes closed.
Really? I can't see that at all. But look at the eyes in this one, the skeleton. It looks like something from a horror movie, and it's wearing an earring too.
Yeah, this one's really weird. But look more closely. It's not a skeleton, and it's not an earring. It just looks like a skeleton.
Huh?
It's an old-fashioned lady looking at herself in a mirror.
No. A lady? It can't be a lady. And what's the earring?
I'm not so sure about that. It may be a candlestick.
Well, whatever it is, it's scary. OK, good fun. Is that the lot?
10.2. Fact or fiction? 1.
Sunflowers turn to follow the sun.
Fiction. It's true, there are flowers that follow the sun, but, despite what many people believe, the sunflower is not one of them. Certainly, when you see a field of sunflowers, the flower heads are facing more or less in the same direction, but always in the same direction, from sunrise to sunset.
2.
The milk of a hippopotamus is pink.
Fact. It is true that the colour of a hippo's milk is bright pink. This is because the milk contains 2 unique acids, and one of these is red, which, when mixed with the white milk, turns it pink. Hippos nurse their babies for about a year and are the only mammals to produce pink milk.
3.
Salt water boils quicker than fresh water.
Fact. Salt water boils faster than pure water because the salt water has a lower heat capacity. In other words, it takes less energy to raise the temperature of salt water than pure water. This means that the salt water heats up faster and gets to its boiling point quicker.
4.
A duck's quack doesn't echo.
Fiction. This is a much-quoted scientific myth, but it is not true. Scientists have done experiments to prove this. But where did this myth come from? Perhaps it's because quacks aren't usually loud enough to produce an echo.
5.
A toilet flush rotates in a different way depending on which hemisphere you are in.
Fiction. Some people like to believe that the flow of water down the drain in sinks, bathtubs or toilet bowls changes according to whether you are in the northern or southern hemisphere. This is not true. Drains can flow both clockwise and anti-clockwise in both hemispheres.
6.
Hurricanes always have girls' names.
Fiction. This used to be true. From 1953 to 1979, only female names were used, but now both men's and women's names are used. One name for each letter of the alphabet. The same lists are reused every 6 years. These are the first 7 names for 2020. Arthur, Bertha, Cristobal, Dolly, Edward, Faye, and Gonzalo.
7.
Elephants can't jump.
Fact. Elephants have the same number of bones in their feet as other mammals, but they can't jump. This is because the bones in an elephant's foot are more closely packed together than in other mammals, so they do not have the flexibility that you need to jump.
8.
Too much sugar makes children hyperactive.
Fiction. Sugar does not change kids' behaviour. In 1994, a research study proved that a sugary diet did not affect behaviour. But sugar does change one important thing: parents' expectations. After hearing that their children have had a lot of sugar, parents are more likely to say their child has become hyperactive, even when the sugar was not really sugar, but only a placebo.
9.
Fish have a 3-second memory.
Fiction. Scientists have proved that goldfish memory is nowhere near as short as 3 seconds. They conducted 2 experiments with fish food, which proved that goldfish can actually remember things for as long as 5 months.
10.3. What are they talking about? 1.
A glass of dry white wine and a mineral water, please.
Still or sparkling?
Sparkling, please.
Do you want ice and lemon with that?
Just ice, thanks. How much is that?
2.
Oh, I can't believe it. My screen's frozen again.
Switch it off, unplug it and take the battery out. Then start it up again. That's the only thing that ever works for me.
OK, here goes.
3.
So, how did it go?
Not too bad, thanks.
Were you very nervous?
Yeah, but I tried not to show it.
When were you here?
In a couple of days. They said they'd phone me at the end of the week and let me know.
4.
Have you any idea what to get them?
Not really, but it should be something special.
Yeah, 25 years is a long time.
It would be nice to get something silver.
Yeah. Well, why don't we club together and get something from both of us? Then we can afford something really nice.
Good idea. Mum and Dad would love that.
5.
Right, left at the next crossroads.
What? Left or right?
I said left, right?
What?
Oh, that was close. Now, left up that hill and look in your mirrors, not at me. Right?
.4 What went wrong? Rick.
Alex, you're back. Did you and Hannah have a good time? Really? What on earth happened? I bet you were furious with her. That's the one thing you do need to travel these days. Did you go back to get it? By 4 hours? That's a long time. Were things okay when you finally took off? I know, my poor sister. Turbulence can be really scary. Hannah must have been terrified. So, did things get better when you landed? You poor things. No sleep after that nightmare journey. Didn't you complain? 3 o'clock? Were things any better the next day? So, even the weather was awful. Sorry, Alex, but Leah and I were much luckier in Spain. We had cloudless skies every day. What? No sun at all? Just wind and rain? You're kidding. You must have been so glad to get home and go back to work.
10.5 What went wrong? Rick and Alex.
Alex, you're back. Did you and Hannah have a good time?
It was the worst holiday ever. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Really? What on earth happened?
Well, it began in the taxi on the way to the airport when Hannah realised she'd left her passport on the kitchen table.
I bet you were furious with her. That's the one thing you do need to travel these days. Did you go back to get it?
Yes, of course we had to. Oh, it was a mad rush. But we needn't have hurried because when we finally got to the airport, the plane was delayed by 4 hours.
By 4 hours? That's a long time. Were things okay when you finally took off?
No, things got even worse. The flight was a nightmare, a really bumpy ride, and Hannah is afraid of flying at the best of times.
I know, my poor sister. Turbulence can be really scary. Hannah must have been terrified. So, did things get better when you landed?
I wish. It was dark when we arrived at the hotel and we were exhausted, so we went straight to bed, but we couldn't sleep. There was a party or something going on in the room next door and the walls were paper thin.
You poor things. No sleep after that nightmare journey. Didn't you complain?
Yeah, we banged on the walls, but they couldn't hear. Finally, we rang the hotel reception and they gave us a different room. But by that time, it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock? Were things any better the next day?
Well, in the morning, we opened the curtains and guess what? It was raining! Not what you expect in Bermuda.
So, even the weather was awful. Sorry, Alex, but Leah and I were much luckier in Spain. We had cloudless skies every day.
Yeah, and it continued to rain for the rest of the week. Apparently, it was the tail end of Hurricane Gonzalo. Just our luck.
What? No sun at all? Just wind and rain?
Not exactly. The sun finally came out as we were travelling to the airport to come home.
You're kidding. You must have been so glad to get home and go back to work.
10.6
Might have. Could have.
Can't have. May have. Must have.
10.7.
You must have been worried. I can't have lost it. It could have been stolen. I might have dropped it. She may have found it.
10.8. What on earth?
What on earth has happened?
How on earth could that have happened?
Where on earth have you been?
10.9. A.
I can't carry all these shopping bags.
What on earth have you bought?
B.
Tom's broken his arm in 3 places.
How on earth did he do that?
C.
There's someone at the door.
Who on earth could it be at this time of night?
D.
My aunt left all her money to a cat's home.
Why on earth did she do that?
E.
I can't find my car keys.
Where on earth have you put them?
10.10. My solo wedding.
I lie awake in my hotel room in Kyoto, nearly 6,000 miles from home, my stomach in knots. My mind is racing with thoughts of my wedding tomorrow. I take a deep breath and tell myself I don't have anything to worry about. I can't be stood up at the altar because the person I'm marrying is myself.
10.11. The man who posted himself to Australia.
We first met in the 62 Commonwealth Games that were held in Perth, Australia, and we immediately got on.
We just hit it off.
And both very accomplished athletes, national champions, record holders at the javelin.
You know, we'd built up a friendship in Australia and we wrote to each other.
People wrote letters in those days.
And then there's a knock, knock, knock on my door and it's Reg. He was over. And fortunately, I was able to put him up and he stayed for about 4 or 5 months.
But as you say, Reg, you got injured and you wanted to get home to see, you were married by now, you had a little girl.
Yeah,
wanted to get home for her birthday.
And there was one catch, I didn't have any money.
Reg, after a little while, got a job and he was earning some money at the airport. So while he was working there, he was saving up to go home and then he had his wallet pinched.
So I had to find another way home.
So where did this idea come from to disguise you as air freight?
Oh, I worked for Air France and I worked in the export cargo section. So I saw animals coming through on aircraft and it just came to me. I thought, well, wait a minute. Hang on a minute. The biggest piece of freight you could put on an aircraft to go to Australia was, I remember, 5 feet by 3 feet by 2.5 feet. That was the biggest that the plane could take.
But you thought, I know, I'll get in a box and send myself home to Australia.
Why not? And I was in a hurry.
John, what did you think when you heard this idea?
Well, when he first came back with this idea, we thought, you know, he was joking and so on. But there was an intensity about it. And we thought, God, this guy's serious. So if he's going to do it, I better make him a box.
So how did you go about making this box, John?
He told me it's got to be 5 feet by 3 feet by 2.5, because Reg is about 6'2", well built and handsome and all that sort of thing. So 5 feet by 3 feet by 2.5 allows him to sit up with his legs straight or lie back with his legs bent.
Where did you make this box, John?
Made it largely in the flat, but we found that looking at it in the light, in certain light, you could actually see through the cracks. So we had to line the inside of it with some paper, because he actually went as plastic emulsion.
That's what was written on the box, was it? Plastic emulsion?
That's what was written on the box, to be sent to a Mr. Graham and collected. We made up the company, fictitious address in London, fictitious address in Perth.
Was your family in Australia aware of this plan, Reg?
No. No, I wouldn't. No, they'd worry.
So the big day came, a Saturday in West London. Tell us what happened that day. How did you prepare, Reg?
How do you prepare? You don't prepare, you just get in the box and go.
John, when Reg is getting into this box, what have you put in there for supplies for him?
For supplies? Well, he's got a couple of plastic bottles, one to pee in and one to drink. He's got, various food items.
Mainly baked beans. Probably not a good move.
And then
there's a thought.
He's got his bag. He's got a torch,
pillow, and a blanket.
Were you strapped in there, Reg?
Well, there were straps in there, yes.
Yeah.
If they turned the box upside down, which they did one time, it all held me in place.
Now, Reg had an enormous appetite, so we had to slow his system down.
I didn't eat for weeks.
Literally, you didn't eat for a week?
No, I didn't eat for a week. It was I was young.
And then that was it. He was off.
So what's going on with this box that you're in, Reg, while you're waiting for the plane to take off?
I can see out through the slats, and they had a huge freight shed, and they took the crate in there, and they put it up high.
Oh, dear.
And then out to the aeroplane. See you later. Simple as that. It was pitch black most of the way. It was about 60 hours in the thing.
What were you thinking about in there?
My life up to that point, all sorts of thoughts go through you. But I wasn't frightened. I'm up here, everything's working, I'm breathing, I'm not cold, it's not that comfortable, but I can make it. So I just carried on.
So next leg was to Bombay.
And it's so hot, I've taken all my clothes off. Then I think it went to Singapore, and then I think it went to Perth. I knew when it hit Perth. The hold opened up. These Aussie guys come in and said, this big so-and-so thing, this is not for us, is it? And it's for us. I knew where I was. I'm home.
How did that feel to be back in Australia?
Oh, it was terrific, wonderful.
Did you make it in time for your daughter's birthday?
Yeah.
And your wife?
She was happy to see me, of course.
What did she say when you told her how you'd got home?
She didn't believe me. She didn't believe it. But then she thought about it for a moment and thought, well, yes, the silly man has done just that.
10.12. I've just found out. 1.
I've just found out that my sister's expecting a baby.
That's fantastic. When's it due?
2.
I don't ever fall out with my wife.
What? Never? You're kidding. I don't believe it.
3.
I can't work out if I feel warm or cold today.
Yeah, it's one of those days.
4.
I'm saving up to take my grandparents on holiday.
That's kind. They must be delighted.
5.
I need to sort out my life. I've got problems at work, and I've got problems with my boyfriend.
Poor you. Come on, let's go out for a drink. Take your mind off things.
6.
I've just come up with a fantastic idea.
I'll believe it when I hear it.
7.
I'm going to take up rock climbing. I need a new hobby.
Are you mad? You feel dizzy climbing a stepladder.
8.
It's important to make up after an argument.
Yeah, kiss and make up. Never let the sun go down on an argument.
10.13. Have you read about this girl?
Have you read about this girl?
Which girl?
An American girl. Apparently, she's just had a solo wedding.
A solo wedding? What on earth is that?
Well, incredibly, it means you get married all by yourself.
You're kidding? Do you mean there's no groom, no husband?
Exactly.
Where was this? I bet it was in California.
No, it wasn't. In fact, it was in Japan, in Kyoto. Apparently, solo weddings are becoming quite popular there.
Really? Why? Surely it's a really sad thing to do.
Absolutely, I agree. But it says here some girls just enjoy dressing up and being a princess for the day.
Oh dear. Presumably, these girls don't have boyfriends.
Obviously not. I don't think any boyfriend would like the idea.
Well, personally, I think the whole thing is silly.
I know. And anyway, I like the way we got married. It was good fun.
Yeah, it was. And romantic. Why did the American girl do it?
She's a photographer and a journalist. She must have just wanted the story.
Of course. And it's a good one.
10.14 Expressing attitude. 1.
Hi, you're Pete, aren't you?
Actually, no, I'm not. Pete's over there, talking to Robert.
2.
What did you think of the film? Great, wasn't it?
Personally, I thought it was rubbish. I just don't like all that blood and fighting.
3.
What's the latest gossip about Kate and her boyfriend?
Apparently, she's going to dump him. She's met someone else.
4.
What's the weather like in spring?
Generally, it's warm during the day, but you still need to wear a jumper or cardigan in the evening.
5.
What time will we arrive?
Hopefully in the next hour, unless there's another traffic jam.
6.
I phoned and left messages for them, but no reply.
Presumably they're away on holiday. Try them on their mobile.
7.
What did you do when you saw the accident?
Obviously, we called 999 immediately, then went to see if we could do anything to help.
8.
How did you feel when they offered you the job?
To be honest, I was amazed. I didn't expect to get it, but of course I was delighted. It'll be a challenge.
11.1 Pen and paper or screen and keyboard.
In an experiment, school children did a reading comprehension test, some on paper and some on screen. The ones who did the test on paper got the highest scores. University students generally did better on paper too, apart from those students who had expressed a preference for screen reading. Only 21% of the students asked in one survey preferred e-textbooks to physical books. Many enjoyed the e-textbooks they used, but said they easily got distracted from them. As for writing notes on paper by hand, it may be slower than on a laptop, but research by a professor at the University of California shows that the slowness and physical effort involved means that people have a greater understanding of what they've written.
11.2 Talking about you. 1.
Where did you have lunch today?
2.
Where's your mother at the moment?
3.
Do you prefer tea or coffee?
4.
Do you know the name of the river in London?
5.
Have you got a pet? What is it? What's its name?
6.
What's your father's job?
7.
How did you come to class?
8.
Do you know the names of any English or American newspapers?
9.
Where are you sitting in the room? Where is the teacher?
10.
Where are you going after the lesson?
11.3 It's or its. 1.
Living in London has its disadvantages.
2.
To start with, there's a lot of traffic.
3.
Londoners enjoy their parks and open spaces.
4.
For them, it's important to escape busy city life.
5.
Londoners seem very busy. They're always in a rush.
6.
Ethnic communities like the Bangladeshis have their own part of London, and the Koreans have theirs.
11.4. How would you like your newspaper, sir? 1. Jacob.
One thing I'd never dream of reading a print version of nowadays is newspapers. They look so old-fashioned to me when I see them on the newsstand at the rail station every morning. These great big piles of paper you have to fold up and carry around with you. And then you have to find somewhere to throw them away when you've finished with them. Madness. I love reading my news online on a tablet. I read it on the train on the way to work and in my lunch break. I read The Guardian, and it's beautifully designed digitally. I also love reading the comment threads after the articles. You sometimes learn more from them than you do from the articles. They're not always a great read, though. Some people write such miserable things on them, always moaning about everything.
2. Karen.
I did a landscape design course at college, and computers were already the big thing then. So we did most of our projects using the software you can get for it. You can drag and drop different plants and trees and garden features onto your design, and then move them around, and change their size as well. It is cool, but we had to draw some designs by hand just to show we could do it. And I realised that, even though I'm not the world's greatest drawer, I enjoy doing it that way. So now I always start off drawing my projects by hand. It just feels more real. And if you're a gardener, which I was for a long time, you kind of like things being real, you know, down to earth. Trouble is, I usually do have to transfer what I've done on paper onto a software program to send to my clients. I don't think they'd be impressed with my drawings.
3. Luke.
I like having my music digital and streaming it. It's brilliant that you can log on wherever you are and play your music. I like streaming films too. It was a bore having to rent DVDs or buy them and have them sitting around when you're never going to watch them again. But the time it really bothers me when things are digital is when it comes to giving gifts. It's a bit rubbish at Christmas or on birthdays when you just give someone a piece of paper telling them you've bought them something they can download. You want to give them something solid, a gift they can hold and see the shape of and wonder what it is. I like wrapping them up really nicely too. And it's nice to see them looking at the gift when they open it. Unless they don't like it, of course. And it is harder to change something when it's real.
4. Emily.
I was pretty nervous about trying online dating at my age, but it's so much easier than those old-fashioned Lonely Hearts columns in newspapers. I used those a bit when I was young, but you never really knew who you were dealing with. Now you can find out so much about someone before you decide whether you want to meet them, and also chat online for a while before you make the decision. And the site I belong to offers great activities that you can do with people who share your interests. It's not just about meeting in bars, which I hate. It's such an easy way to meet new people, even if it doesn't end in romance. The thing I would like to bring back from the old days is old-fashioned love letters, though. Texts and emails can't match those.
5. Charlie.
I like playing games on my tablet and chatting with friends online. And I like reading stuff on the internet. We sometimes have to do that for homework. But when I'm reading for fun, I prefer proper books. It feels more special reading a book,
especially when they have pictures in. The pictures aren't as big on a tablet. I like Roald Dahl stories best. I love reading them in bed at night. It's not so easy with a tablet. My other favourite thing is doing jigsaws. I've just done a 500-piece one I got for my birthday. You can do them online as well, and it's fun, but it's better with a real jigsaw. I like sorting all the pieces out into different shapes, but I don't like it when there's a piece missing.
6. Holly.
I can seem a bit old-fashioned when it comes to technology. Of course, I use a computer all the time at work, but I am one of those people who disapproves of everyone always being on their phones. But there's one gadget I absolutely adore, the sat-nav. It's a lifesaver for me. I'm hopeless at finding my way around when I'm driving, and it used to be a nightmare using a map, trying to work out where you are when other drivers are beeping and shouting at you for going so slow. You still see those books of maps at petrol stations. I can't believe that people still use them. I mean, who on earth buys them? Now I have Derek, that's what I call my sat-nav man, telling me when to turn. I like the calm way it gives directions. Derek never gets angry with me. But it can sometimes feel a bit dangerous if I stare at the sat-nav too long, though. I forget that that's not the real road. It's the one out of the window.
11.5. Compound nouns.
Music collection. Computer games. Lifetime. Band members.
11.6.
A sleeping pill. A sleeping pill.
11.7. I need one of those things. 1.
I need one of those things you use when you want to open a bottle of wine. You know, you pull it and it goes pop.
2.
I'm looking for some of that stuff you use when you want to clean between your teeth. It's like string. It's white. You use it like this?
3.
They're long and thin, and the Chinese use them to pick up food.
4.
It's made of plastic and it's used for killing flies. Splat! Sploof!
5.
They're things you use when you're cooking and you want to pick up something that's hot.
11.8. What is it? 1.
It's one of those things you use in the kitchen. You use it to do the washing up.
2.
It's long and thin and sharp at one end. The other end has a hole in it, and you use it with some very thin stuff that goes through the hole. You can use them together for putting buttons on clothes.
3.
It looks like a metal bowl, but it has holes in it. You use it to drain the water from things like pasta.
4.
It's the stuff you wash clothes with. You put it in the washing machine. It's a powder and it smells like soap.
5.
It's used for fastening your clothes together if a button has fallen off. It's a kind of metal pin, but it has a top on it that covers the sharp end and stops it hurting you.
6.
They are made of metal. You use them to hold sheets of paper together. You can get small ones or really big, thick ones if you have a lot of sheets of paper that need to be kept together.
7.
It's a kind of ruler. You use it to measure things that are very long, like a room. It's made of metal usually.
8.
It's something you use when you're travelling. You put it on your suitcase so no one can get into it. You have a key to open it, to take it off.
9.
You know, it's got a round metal bit at one end, and the other end is made of glass. You put it in a lamp to make a light.
11.9. 1.
It's one of those things you use in the kitchen.
2.
It's the stuff you wash clothes with.
3.
It's used for fastening your clothes together.
4.
They are made of metal.
5.
It's a kind of ruler.
11.10. In the shop. Conversation 1.
Yes, madam. How can I help you?
I'm looking for a thing you use in the house.
Yes. Now, what do you want to do with it exactly?
Well, it's not one thing. It's two things. And they're usually made of plastic.
Uh-huh.
You know, if you make a mess, like you drop bread or smash a glass, and there are bits all over the floor.
And you need to pick them up.
Yes! You go like this.
What you're talking about is...
Conversation 2.
Can I help you, sir?
Yes. I don't know how you say this in English. I'm looking for a thing you use in the kitchen.
Okay.
It's like a thing with, holes.
Uh-huh. What's it for?
Well, it's for cheese or vegetables like carrots.
And what do you do with it?
If you don't want a big piece of cheese or a whole carrot, but you want little pieces, you can push, you can move. I don't know how to say it. Like this.
Oh, okay. What you mean is...
12.1. Just leave me alone.
A tramp was sleeping on a park bench. A lady stopped and asked,
Excuse me, what time is it?
The tramp was annoyed at being woken up. He told her,
I haven't got a watch, so I don't know the time.
He went back to sleep. A bit later, a boy stopped. He also woke the tramp and asked,
Excuse me, do you know the time?
The tramp replied angrily,
I have no idea what the time is. I'm trying to sleep.
By now he was really fed up, so he wrote a sign.
I don't know what the time is.
He put it next to him on the bench and went back to sleep. Half an hour later, a policeman was passing. He read the sign, woke the tramp up and said,
Good evening, sir. It's 9 o'clock.
12.2. Just leave him alone.
A tramp was sleeping on a park bench when a lady stopped and asked him what time it was. The tramp was annoyed at being woken up. He told her that he didn't have a watch, so he didn't know the time, and he went back to sleep. A bit later, a boy stopped. He also woke the tramp and asked if he knew the time. The tramp replied angrily that he had no idea what the time was, and he added that he was trying to sleep. By now he was really fed up, so he wrote a sign. "I don't know what the time is." He put it next to him on the bench and went back to sleep. Half an hour later, a policeman was passing. He read the sign, woke the tramp up, and told him that it was 9 o'clock.
12.3 Direct Speech 1,
Where is he?
2,
I don't know where he is. I haven't seen him for years.
3,
Is he still on the payroll? Has he retired or died?
4,
What have you been doing for so many years?
5,
Why did you take your pay despite doing no work?
6,
I didn't keep regular hours because I was bullied and I became depressed.
7,
I'm making good use of my time. I've been studying philosophy.
8,
You will not receive a medal.
12.4 Had or would 1,
Did you accept the job?
Will you accept the job?
2,
Where do you work?
Where have you worked?
3,
We travelled by train.
We'll travel by train.
12.5 Asking questions politely 1,
Could you tell me where the station is?
2,
Could you possibly tell me how much you earn?
3,
Would you mind telling me how much you paid for that shirt?
4,
Do you know when the banks close?
5,
I wonder if Kate's coming.
12.6 Asking more politely
Can you tell me what time you normally get up?
About 7 on weekdays, 10 at weekends.
I don't know what kind of music you like.
Oh, I like anything that helps me to relax.
Have you any idea what your dream job is?
Well, I'd like to be my own boss. Failing that, an astronaut.
I'd like to know who your favourite sports person is.
I don't have one. I like so many.
I wonder which football team you support.
Isn't it obvious from the scarf I'm wearing? Arsenal!
Have you ever wondered how much time you spend in front of a screen each day?
It's a lot. Too much. I don't like to think about it.
Have you any idea how many times a day you check your phone?
Oh, loads. About 10 times an hour. I feel lost without it.
Can you tell us why you left your last job?
I was made redundant.
Could you tell me how long you've been learning English?
What do you mean? I am English. Can't you tell?
I want to know why you don't reply to my texts.
Well, my phone wasn't working for a while.
12.7